executive directors here at DIIT. We're so happy that you've decided to engage in professional development during the summer, especially for the longer ones where we wanted to give you a real opportunity to dive into Google AI and not just have, a quick workshop. So we hope that in this longer workshop series, you take the time to really engage, ask questions. Santi has been doing a lot of professional development for us, for our leaders last week, and now for you, for teachers this week. I also want to let you know that all of the resources and the recordings will be shared with you after the session, along with a CTLE code that will be emailed to you if you're interested in gaining CTLE hours for any of the workshops that you participate in today. If you have any questions post the PD, feel free to email me. I'll drop my email in the chat along with Allison Skiandra, who manages a lot of this professional development. And then lastly, you will receive a survey from us, and we really hope that you are able to complete the survey and let us know what other future professional development you're interested in, so that when we plan for future teacher institutes, leader institutes, and the Tech Summit in January, which is in person, that we ensure that we schedule professional development that our teachers are actually interested in. So I'm not going to take up a lot of time. I'm going to hand it over to Santi. Thank you all for taking the time to join us. And Santi, it's all yours.
Celine, thank you so much. And absolutely, thank you everybody for joining us on this early morning virtual session on something super exciting, Google AI for Educators. As Celine mentioned, we're on this session for the next 3 hours, and I really want us to ask a lot of questions. I want it to be as casual and comfortable as possible, and we're going to dive into creating some interesting things using AI. So that being said, a little bit about the folks that put this together, myself and Danita from Google. So Danita's the head of K-12 for the Mid-Atlantic region, so that includes New York City. And so we've been working closely together to create this content and support schools on using different AI tools. Myself, Santi Karasamy, I started this company called Project Recess. We've been doing this for a long time, over 10 years, back when there was this thing called Google Docs that was first out, and we saw the promise of this tool in terms of collaboration, and all these tools have evolved us as teachers. We've adapted. COVID has really sort of like forced us to upskill ourselves, learn how to do everything virtually, and really lean into collaboration tools. So we are a contracted PD provider. We've been leading a lot of work on AI. We recently were named Partner of the Year through Google for the work that we've done specifically with New York City schools. And so we're very excited to continue this work with everybody here. So again, want this to be as interactive as possible. So if you're able to interact with the chat, if you're able to share your thoughts here, I would love for everyone to name a work task that takes up way too much of your time right now. So think about it. It could be anything. Kim, thank you so much for kicking us off. There's grading in there. Feel free to think about it and add in the chat what takes up way too much of your time. If I myself am answering this, I'm probably email. We're getting a lot of emails. I think everyone is. Our inboxes are easily in the triple digits sometimes, trying to get to that inbox 0. So creating next step comments. Thank you, Alfred. Mario, thank you. Device inventory. Creating slides for lessons. Okay, we have something interesting for that. Grading, creating Google Slides for alternate assessment. Thank you everybody for putting that in. Please continue to share in there if something pops into your mind, what takes up a lot of your time. So again, this is this session that we're in right now, it's formatted a little bit differently, because instead of just talking about how these tools can help, like we'll actually set aside some time to build something that hopefully you could walk away with today and start using. and also, sharing what you are all already doing with AI. So next question, just real quickly, just it's like a quick vibe check here. How familiar is everybody with Gemini? Again, feel free to put it in the chat. 1, if you're brand new, if you just heard about it. 5, if you feel like you're very comfortable using these tools. So with Gemini specifically, how familiar do you consider yourself using this? Feel free to put it in the chat. Again, 1, if you're just starting out. 5, if you've been using it for a while and you feel pretty comfortable already, turnkeying this to teachers in your building. Feel free to put it in there. And if you need time to think about it, that's fine too. Let's see. Okay. 1. Okay, good. 2. This is great. A lot of people are just starting. Teresa, great. 0. Perfect. Mario, 8.3. You can help us lead this session. This is great. 4.3. Oh, I was hoping it was really 8.3. This is wonderful. It seems like everyone here is starting out, and that's great. We'll learn these tools together. We'll walk you through how these work. Okay. So moving forward, this is a Google Doc that we'll share with everybody. I'll put it in the chat now, but again, this session is being recorded. I'll email everybody all of these resources, but this is a virtual notebook, and I'll put it in the chat here. So this is a virtual notebook. We'll add resources and other links in here, a living document. As we talk about different things, we'll add them to this virtual notebook right here. Again, leaning on this idea of communication and collaboration using something like Google Docs. All right, let's do a game here. We like to start off our sessions with this just to give us an idea of how quickly this technology is working and evolving. So here's a question for all of these different industries. How many years did it take to get to 50 million users? And we'll start with airplanes, right? So again, think about how long do you think it took airplanes to reach 50 million users? Go ahead, feel free to put it in the chat. There's no wrong answers here. Thank you, Kim. 15, 25 years, 20. Okay, good. Everybody's about in the 20s. 10. For airlines to reach 50 million users, let's see, 68 years. It took 68 years. And again, keep in mind, this is airplanes were introduced a long time ago. It took a while for things to, become viral and reach a lot of users, but 68 users, yes. Thank you for utilizing the the emojis. Feel free to continue doing that. Let's do the next one, the internet. So, brief history of the internet. It started as a, as a military invention, but how long do we think it took the internet to reach 50 million users? So airplanes, it took 68. The internet, how long do folks think? 10, 20, 28. Thank you everybody for adding these in there. Keep it in mind. All right, let's see. Internet, how long did it take? 7 years. 7 years. Hortense, you were very close. Alfred, you were very close. 7 years it took. All right. Facebook. Who remembers having Facebook back in the early 2000s? How long do we think that took to reach 50 million users? I remember signing up for my first Facebook account. Oh my goodness, 2009, when it was called The Facebook. Okay, so 1 year, 2 year, 4 year, 5, 10. All right, how long? 50 million users, Facebook. 3 years. So it seems like everybody is within that same range. So as we can see with these different, inventions, these different industries, it's taking much quicker to reach 50 million users. Okay, lastly, Gen AI, and this encompasses everything, from ChatGPT to Gemini to all these other systems. So generative AI, how long we took? 6 months, less than less than 1 year, 10 months. Okay, good. So everyone is like seeing the trend here. So generative AI, 5 weeks. And that's incredible. All right, 5 weeks. When you think about that, 50 million users, 5 weeks. So Hortense, she, an attendee, we were talking about Web3. So Web3, I first learned about it maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. And I feel like people are I myself am still learning more about what Web3 is and like what the applications are. I think similar can be said about, different like crypto applications. I'm not just talking about Bitcoin, but like as a technology, people are trying to figure out like how can this have application, and I think we're still trying to figure that out. But when I think about something like generative AI, 5 weeks, 50 million users, I think like people jumped on this bandwagon so quickly because the application is so clear. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. It could be education, it could be finance, it could be the arts, it could be anything. No matter what industry you're in, these tools can really help streamline and boost your creativity, your thought process, everything. And so like, yeah, that's pretty wild. 50 million users in 5 weeks. Does anybody have any questions? Anything they want to share so far? Feel free to unmute. Feel free to put it in the chat. All right. So moving on, there's a lot of information about Gemini, but the main thing that I want folks to walk away with is that Gemini went through the IRMA approval process. Every teacher, every staff member in New York City has access to Gemini. Like that in itself is huge. Sometimes I forget this is the largest school system in the nation, right? 75,000 teachers. And you all have access to Gemini because it went through this rigorous, oh yeah, wonderful. Thank you, Celine. I'll touch on that. So Gemini is available, and all of your data is private and secured. So whatever you feel comfortable using in your Outlook, in your Google Drive, you can feel that same sense of security using Gemini. And there are other generative AI tools out there. Mainly ChatGPT. Many people use that. I believe that has still yet to complete the IRMA approval process. And so when we're looking at it from a strictly like data and like privacy standpoint, I personally, I'm recommending teachers using Gemini, even Copilot, because these have gone through the IRMA approval process. And yes, as Celine spoke, on FAMUS, you can purchase a Gemini Pro license. We'll talk a little bit more about what that is, but that allows you to do even more with your, with your Google Workspace tools using AI. And we'll discuss what that is, but it is possible to, purchase a license, and you can buy individual licenses. You can just buy one if you want, or like a few if you have some teachers that really want to leverage these tools. But it's on FAMUS, and we'll put the information on there. Christina, very good question. I don't think it's in Teach Hub, but if you're signed into your @schools account, if you just open up a new tab, you just go to gemini.google.com and you're in. So you just want to make sure that you are signed into your @schools account, and then that Gemini that you're in, you're all good. That has gone through the IRMA approval process. Your data is safe and secure. So you're good there. I'm going to demonstrate that. So thanks for bringing that up. So again, that's the main thing I want to stress. These tools are safe and secure. Again, I'm not going to get too deep in the weeds, but Google has really been an AI-focused company for a long time, focusing on innovation, focusing on safety. And so like that's important when we're looking at these tools in a K-12 learning environment. Okay, so there are different learning science principles that they've gone through. What I appreciate about this is that they're really taking into account how people learn, and improving on the chatbot experience that they have with Gemini to make sure that it's helping teachers expand on their existing knowledge. So again, I'm going to share this slide deck with everyone, but ultimately, we're moving toward a world where there's going to be a teaching assistant for every educator, truly a teaching assistant, a tutor for every learner, and an assistant for every education leader. And people are doing this now. It's pretty exciting. Gemini 2.5 Flash, yes. Irsan, if you have any questions about that, let us know. Kim, thank you so much. IRMA, it's not just your friend down the street. IRMA, ERMA, that's this rigorous process that software needs to go through in order to be used by New York City schools. Thank you. Please let me know if I say some acronym that folks may not be aware of. I'm going to share this tab. So when I say IRMA, we're referring to not two-step verification, but this Enterprise Request Management Application, IRMA. All right, so all you have to know about that is that, again, it's a very rigorous process in order for New York City schools to use some type of software. Sometimes it gets annoying where maybe a school, maybe a teacher wants to use like this app that they just found, but you can't really do that because we don't know how this company is going to, keep your data safe, keep your, your files secured. We're working with student information, family information. We want to make sure all of this stuff is safe. So in order for us to use something, it needs to go through the ERMA approval process. So Kim, thank you so much for asking that. Yes, dear son, thank you so much for putting that in there. Okay. All right. Again, I want to keep this interactive, so please share in the chat or like have a conversation if you want to unmute. How are you currently using or thinking about using generative AI in your classroom or personal life? Feel free to put it in the chat. Feel free to unmute, but just a vibe check. I want to know what people are doing already. And it doesn't have to be with Gemini. It could be with ChatGPT. It could be with, these other chatbots out there. But what are folks doing right now to help you with your work in the classroom or on a personal level? I always think these conversations are interesting just to see how people are using these tools. So again, feel free to put in the chat. Feel free to unmute and share. So Teresa, thank you so much. Lesson plans. Teach STEM. Find creative ways to use it with students. Create differentiated activities for different types of learners. Absolutely. That's huge. Okay, very basic task. Create a word bank for students. That's awesome. Creating rubrics. Wonderful. Collaborating with colleagues to create resources. Yes. Haven't used it with school yet. That's fine too. Lesson plans, rubrics. Thank you, Hortense. For creating invitations. Very cool. Very cool. Thank you for sharing that personal use. ChatGPT for recipes. Nothing for school now. Colleen, honestly, we're all newbies right now. This technology is moving so quickly. It's evolving so fast. I honestly don't think anyone is an expert in this. Like we're all, building the plane as we're flying, so to speak, because it's changing so much. It's evolving. We're all learning how to use this. So we're all, to an extent, we're all newbies. Haven't used it. Help students with resume. Canvas for quiz. Okay, Pedro, thank you so much. All right, great. Use it a little for research in your dissertation. Fantastic. Perplexity. Okay, nice. I've heard good things about that too. Thank you, everybody. So I hope this gives everyone an idea of how folks are using this, how people are using this in your lives. Personally, so my company, we lead a lot of workshops. We lead a lot of professional development, and sometimes it takes a long time to build an agenda. I'll definitely use Gemini to help me first make the draft of an agenda, and then I'll go through and make sure that the timing's correct, we're focusing on the right things, that it's in my voice. So I'm going to come back to this idea multiple times, but you do save a lot of time using these AI tools to build things. But you do need to spend time also making sure that the output matches what you want. And we'll continue to go explore what that is. Okay. So I'm going to introduce what Gemini is, and then I'm going to give us some time to play around with it. Okay. So again, Gemini, as I mentioned, available for every staff member in New York City schools. That in itself, mind-blowing, knowing the process that it went through to be available, that's pretty nuts. So Gemini, there's different flavors of Gemini. What do I mean by that? So typically, if somebody says, hey, go to Gemini, or I'm using Gemini, typically they're referring to the Gemini app, and nobody calls it the Gemini app. All right, only people from Google call it the Gemini app. But know that when people say Gemini, they're typically talking about this, going to gemini.google.com. Okay, and the interface looks like this. It looks very similar to things like ChatGPT, or if you've used something called Claude before. All of these different chatbots, they all pretty much look the same. They all pretty much act the same at this point. But again, I think the main differentiator of using Gemini is that it went through this rigorous safety, privacy process, and you could feel confident using this in your work as an employee within New York City schools. So I'm just going to open up a new tab and demonstrate how to get there. So you can't really see my address bar at the top. I'll type it in this search bar, but you're not really supposed to do that. I'm just doing this just to share. But Gemini.google.com. All right. If you're signed into your @schools account, you open up a new tab, you go to gemini.google.com, you should see something like this, okay? And how it's format, and you'll know you're signed in to Gemini is, obviously, like if you click on this circle with the first letter of your name in there, it's just like clicking on that icon with any Google app. You'll see how you're signed in. So I have an @schools account for training purposes. I see that I'm signed in here. This is your main window to write a prompt, okay? And here on the side, these are the different chats that I've had. So if you scroll down, like these are all the different chats I've had like a long time ago. It keeps it all in there. Or if I click on this, this is an example I made here. This is the example prompt. I am the principal of PS1, a middle school in Queens. Draft a concise and engaging email to parents announcing our upcoming virtual town hall meeting. And it created this, okay? So again, you can access Gemini by opening up a new tab, go to gemini.google.com, or let's see, even if you're in one of these windows and you have these dots up here, which, I used to call a waffle because they were like squares. If you click on this, you have these shortcuts to other tools. Gemini is here also. All right. So you have multiple ways to get there. So let's take a minute right now, and then let's all make sure that we can get to Gemini. All right. So I'll give you about, like a minute or two. Go ahead, open up a new tab, and then go to Gemini, and then I'll give you all an instruction on what to do. Okay. So let's make sure that we're all there. Kim, that's a wonderful question. Oh, wait a minute. Let me back up 1 second here. Grace. No, Grace, that's not a silly question at all. That's actually like a very insightful question. So Grace asked in the chat, will every New York City student have access to Gemini? I believe at the moment they don't have access to it, but that's not to say that they might, continue to not get it in the future. Again, this is also new. I think every New York City teacher got access to Gemini, I think like 2 or 3 months ago. So this is all very new. So at the moment, students do not have access, but who knows if that'll change. That requires ongoing conversations with DIIT, other central offices, et cetera, because that's a big change to have students have access to these tools. So right now, only teachers, not students. Who knows if that'll change or not. Okay, and then Kim, that's also a wonderful question. What's the difference between AI mode in Google Search and Gemini? So if you've not seen it yet, let's see. I'm going to share this tab. Okay, AI mode. So again, as I mentioned, things are changing. If we rewind the clock 3 years, and you needed to find something on the internet, you're gonna Google it, right? Like Google is hands down the most popular web search out there. And then ChatGPT came out, and then everything changed. What's interesting in my conversations with people now, if we're talking, like yesterday, it was my brother-in-law's birthday, and he's a big sports guy, and we're talking about that baseball player Ohtani, and his like translator like stole a bunch of money from him. We were like, how much money did he steal from this baseball player? And instead of Googling it, my brother-in-law, he asked an AI tool. And I think we're seeing that now. I think many people, instead of going to Google, they're going to like ChatGPT. And, Google sees this, they want to remain the leader in search. So they included AI mode. So AI mode uses Gemini, but it searches the internet and then creates an AI overview. So if I click on AI mode here, and maybe nobody's seen this before. Again, this is new. This came out like 3 months ago. So if you're at a regular, Google search and you click on AI mode and I say, tell me about NYC public schools. If I click, traditionally, you would get a bunch of links. But now in AI mode, it works very similarly to Gemini. And I think it uses the same like technology, but now gives me an AI overview. And honestly, you could get something similar if you just went straight to Gemini and asked the same question. If I open up Gemini, let me do that. So this is AI mode in Google search. But if I go to Gemini here, so again, I'm signed into Gemini with my @schools account, and then same thing, tell me about NYC public schools. It's going to search the internet, and then it's giving me something similar. Okay, so Grace, to your point, AI mode and Gemini work very similarly, but AI mode is more dedicated to like your traditional search, whereas check this out. Okay, so I asked this question in Gemini. Now here, oh, check this out. Okay, now turn this into a 45-minute, workshop for teachers. I'm just going to say that. It's going to think, and then it's taking all of that information that it's summarized, and here it created the workshop. All right, so again, you would have to go through it and make sure that it all makes sense. It's saying the welcome and intro is 5 minutes. There's an icebreaker here, your role, scope and sequence. And this is pretty interesting too. And I'm gonna show you more about this. So there's something called Canvas at the bottom. And if I just say now, organize this in Canvas as a table, it's hit or miss with this sometimes. So check this out. Canvas is just a different way of looking at Gemini. And then right now it like broke it into 2 different screens. And then it's like working on an outline of what I just said. So all this to say, this is like a kind of like a long way to respond, but AI mode is a Google search. Gemini is if you want to get the same content, but then you can do things to it. You can have this, tailor itself to work with your class. You make an agenda, make an email, things like that. Okay. That was a very long way to answer your question, Kim. Nick said, can we organize the chats? Okay, you're very welcome. Let me just, while this is working on this, I'm gonna go back to my other chats here. So you have limited ways to organize your chat. So again, once you start having chats on the side, if you click on these 3 dots, you can rename them or pin them. So you have currently, you have limited ways to organize your chat history. So if I rename this, I could call it whatever I want. Maybe I want to, give it like a more descriptive name, and then I can rename it. I'll just say next steps. All right. If I want to rename it, or then you can pin it. All right. So as you can see, there's like icons of pins here. And what's great is that you can come back to this chat. So I've had multiple chats where like maybe I've worked on like a proposal or something, a proposal for a workshop. I started it 3 months ago, was working on it. Great. Now let's say I want to take that and revise it. I can find that chat, either scroll down or there's a search bar up here. If I click on the search bar, again, you have all the chats here, or you can put like specific words in here. So if I type in the word, workshop, it's going to give me all of the different chats that either have this word in the title or in the body. There's 9 results here. This saves me some time, so I can go back to my old chat and I can continue the chat. So in a way, it does remember the conversations you have, but in the context of that chat. Okay. Does anybody? Okay, you're very welcome. Oh, I'm definitely gonna get into gems in a few minutes. That's a completely, the short of it is a gem. What's cool about gems is that it's a personalized chatbot. So think about, and I'm getting ahead of myself, but if you think about the repetitive things that you might do, so let's say, what's a repetitive thing? So like feedback. Some people put feedback in the chat of things that take up a lot of their time, and it takes up a lot of your time probably because you're doing it, for all your students. You can create a personalized chatbot known as a gem, and you can give it pre-made instructions. So you can say, analyze the text that I give you for X, Y, and Z, respond with these next steps that include A, B, and C, and then it gives you the response. And of course, you got to go and make sure that it makes sense. But a gem, personalized chatbot, where it's all the prompts already in there, so you save time having to prompt it with every conversation. I'll get into that in detail. We're gonna build gems in this workshop, but that's what it is. Okay, Colleen, can Gemini use other programs like make a slideshow on Google Slide? Yes. So right now, I'll show you all that. I'll show you right now. I don't mind jumping around. I'm going to share this tab. So Google Classroom, first of all, can you all believe that Google Classroom is 10 years old now? Crazy. This came out 10 years ago. And I was like, man, this is going to change everything. If anybody remembers Blackboard, if you took that in college, like I think everyone loved the concept of it, but hated the actual, platform of Blackboard. I feel like this is a really good, what Blackboard should have been. Anyway, all this to say, there's a new pilot for teachers that came out, and this will eventually make its way to all of teachers in New York City, I believe. As you can see in Google Classroom, there's something that says Gemini. So I believe every teacher has this, and every student too, I think. I got to double check on the student one, but every teacher for sure. So if you click on that Gemini tab, and again, I'm in Classroom, classroom.google.com, you have all of these options on how to use Gemini within Classroom, which is amazing. I know there's another really great AI tool called Magic School. I don't know if anybody used that before. Magic School is great. What I think was genius about Magic School when it came out is that if you sign into during that time, whatever, 2 years ago, you sign into ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever, you have a blank canvas, and you kind of didn't know what to do, myself included. It's you had this search bar asking you to give it a prompt, and I'm like, man, I don't even know where to start. And many teachers that we were working with during that time felt the same way. But Magic School gave you a bunch of pre-made prompts on their dashboard, which I thought was great. Now there's a similar feature built into Google Classroom. So now when a teacher goes into, I believe, Josie, I believe Magic School is ERMA-approved, but I think there's a paywall and some limitations. So when you go to Classroom now and you click on Gemini, you have a bunch of things here that will give you an idea of how to use AI, outline a lesson plan, generate a quiz, re-level text, create a rubric. And there's something here. If some of you don't see it, it's because it's in a pilot program. But again, I think this is going to be rolled out. So generate a presentation. This works pretty well. Somebody, Christina, I'm glad you're excited. Somebody give me a grade and a topic in the chat. Someone give me a grade and a topic, and I'll make a presentation. So Celine, all of these options are in Classroom already, with the exception.
But what if you're not accessing it through Classroom?
Oh, no, this is only in Classroom.
Okay, that's what I wanted to clarify, that these options are only viewable in Classroom.
Yes.
So if you're accessing it, let's say outside of Classroom, you don't see these options.
You don't see these options, but you could still get the same options. So
correct.
I don't see generate a presentation on my phone.
So Deborah, it's because it's part of a pilot program, so not everyone has it yet. But I believe it'll be rolled out in the near future. Word on the street is by the fall. Don't quote me on that, but right now it's in a pilot program. So I'm going to show you how the generate a presentation works. Most people, if not everyone on this call, doesn't have access to that. However, you'll get it soon. So right now I'm going to give you a preview. So thank you folks for sharing in the chat. Okay, I'll do this for a couple. So 5th grade math fractions. Okay, so generate a presentation, target grade, 5th, topic math fractions, and then I'm just going to say generate a long presentation. All right, that's it. That's all. I'm clicking generate a presentation. And if you hear 2 toddlers fighting in the background, those are my kids. Let's see how good this my noise canceling is. I'm waiting for them to burst through the door at any moment. So, okay, so it says suggested learning objective. Let me see if I can. Suggested learning objectives. So again, students will be able to identify the numerator and denominator in a given fraction. So again, you read through this as a teacher, you have the expertise, you know what you want to focus on. So you want to make sure that this makes sense. And then I'm just going to hit generate a presentation outline. Okay, that's new. So, and I'll do this for another, grade and subject also. So you got to give it some, so this is the outline. Okay, this is not the actual presentation yet. So, you know, what is a piece of pie? And it links with, oh, this is interesting. So it links with, what is that? Stock footage. So all of the things you see here, you know, choose your favorite stock image, or you can choose no image, or you can upload your own later. Okay. So this is the first part, lesson outline. This is the text of the slide. Again, you want to go through it, make sure that makes sense. Slide 3, let's explore. You can choose what you want here. So it's giving you a lot of options. You don't have to start from scratch. You're taking this time in modifying what it's already there. Okay, so it has all the, let's say you want to use this. I'm going to click generate presentation, and then we'll see what happens. So it's generating it. So here it is. Here's the slide. So I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to switch to this tab. So it created this presentation. What was that, in like 10 seconds? So it has your lesson outline. It's got, you know, the images are hit or miss, again, because it's stock footage, because, you know, because it's AI trying to think of what image to put in there. These are YouTube videos that I put in. Again, you can replace this with something that makes more sense. Double check. Sometimes the videos don't work. I'm not seeing if this is working. Oh, here we go. Okay. So again, maybe you want to use this video, maybe you don't. Sharing family, introducing parts to a whole, numerator, you know, what's on top. All of these things here. Okay. As somebody, okay, good. I was going to say, as somebody that knows 5th grade fractions well, you tell me if this makes sense or not. Okay. And then, okay, so it created that. So it's up to you. You want to go in, modify it, use it. You can do that. I've had pretty good luck using these pre-generated presentations. And again, it's all using your @schools account. It's all using Google Slides, what we're used to. Okay. Any questions on that? I'll do it one more time. Create a presentation. Let me go through here. Let me see here. Everyone's talking about math. Okay. Okay, since everyone was asking about math, I'll just here. Yes, everything is editable, Alfred. Everything is editable. Sort through. Okay, I'll just say 6th grade, you know, Mesopotamia. Okay. Long. So again, put in the target grade, the topic. Quickly, it's giving you learning objectives. You make sure that these are what you want, or you can add your own, you know, include, you know, the code of law, generate presentation outline. This is new. So the last time I tried this, it just created a presentation. Now it's giving you the outline first, which makes sense. So again, you give it some time. Here are some images, unlocking the secrets of the land between 2 rivers. That's actually not a bad text for a slide. Okay. 20 slides, generate presentation. And then yes, you can modify everything as you go through this process. So it's giving you the slide down here. Oh, look, add to your Google Classroom, or you can just open it up and see what you want, and then you can continue to add this to Google Classroom or what have you. Oh, great, this is a video from National Geographic. This is actually not bad. You know, you go through it again, make sure that it all makes sense, make sure that it's accurate, make sure that it's covering, you know, everything you want in your class. The end. Oh, look, there's a works cited on here. Okay, Josephine. Can the slides, so feel free to test that out if you have access. Again, you most likely don't have access to it. Let me just, oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't sharing this slide. Okay. Yeah, so this is the slide right over here. Okay. So again, most of you probably, when you go to Classroom and you go to Gemini, you probably don't have create a presentation, but you most likely will get it by the fall. That's the rumors that I'm hearing. So know that this option exists. Okay. Can the slides be created in multiple languages? I don't think so at the moment, but there are ways to go around that. You can take the text and put it in Gemini and change it in a different language. But I think if like the slide as a whole, like this, I don't think there's a way to translate it. Let me know if I'm wrong, if you know a different way. But again, at this moment right now, it's not available, but all of this stuff is changing so quickly. All right. Okay. We're bouncing all over the place. I don't mind that. Feel free to ask a question if you have any questions. I don't even know where I am in my slide deck right now. Let me go back here. I was just going over Gemini. Okay, so I hope everyone had a chance to go to Gemini. Okay, I didn't even go over this. So when you go to Gemini, there's a drop down at the top left, 2.5 Flash, and then 2.5 Pro. Those are going to change also. What does that mean? So these are the large language models that's being used to like analyze your prompt, you know, what you're asking. For most of what you want to do, 2.5 Flash is going to work fine. What that is it's just like it's the AI engine, I guess you could say, that's powering Gemini. So for most of your stuff, 2.5 Flash is going to work. If you want, you could choose 2.5 Pro, and that's really good at like reasoning if you want to ask like math problems or help you with code. I know somebody had a question about coding in their computer science. These things can code. What do I mean by that? I'll show you. It's pretty crazy. But know that you could choose between these two models. Most of the stuff that you do, 2.5 Flash is going to be fine. And then in your chat window, or like, yeah, at the bottom where it says enter a prompt for Gemini, it says tools. If you click on that, you have access to something called deep research, Canvas. You can even create images, like AI generated images within Gemini. I'll go over what that looks like. It's pretty interesting. All right, so a glimpse of what Gemini can do. I'm going to do this live. I like doing this. All right. So check this out, everyone. So this is the example prompt. Create a rubric about the life cycle of the butterfly for 3rd grade. All right, here. I'm in Gemini. Again, gemini.google.com. What did I say? Create a rubric, right? Okay. Create a rubric. Sorry, here we go. About the life cycle of a butterfly. This will be used for my 3rd grade class. Okay, so again, very basic prompt. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's interesting. This is something that's not related to this. Sometimes these AI systems will bug out. No pun intended with the butterfly. But yeah, this I'm just gonna refresh the page. Oh, I'm actually gonna take a screenshot. This is interesting. Yeah, this is not related to the rubric, but I'm gonna refresh this. Oh, that was weird. Okay, I'm gonna create a new chat. Oh, that was interesting. Let me try that again. Create a rubric about the life cycle of butterflies we use for my 3rd grade class. Okay, here we go. Oh, that was weird. All this to say, just like anything on the internet, if something doesn't work, most likely you just got to refresh the page. Okay. Let me just go straight to, let me check the comments again. Canva offers something similar. What are the benefits of Gemini over Canva Magic Writer? The benefits of Gemini is that it's already free for everybody. And most likely Canva Magic Writer is using a tool like Gemini as its engine, as it's like, you know, underneath what you see. So I always tell people, just go straight to the source, just go straight to like what they're using. So they're either using Gemini or ChatGPT or ChatGPT or something similar, because it's so expensive to run these tools that like most companies cannot create one from scratch. Canva may have some benefits, but I think the main benefit of using Gemini is that It's gone through the ERMA, privacy approval process. You can use it in your @schools account. It's free. And then it's already integrated with your Google Workspace, right? Your Google Docs and everything. I mean, Canva's great for other projects. If you want to use it, feel free. It's not about just sticking with one tool. You can use, other tools out there. But I think Gemini is a really great, just like general tool for most things. Okay, so like this is pretty amazing. I gave it a very simple prompt. It created this rubric. Okay, so as you can see, like it already created it like in like a table. And this format where it's not just a chat window, but you have your chat on the left and then your like work on the right, these two windows. This is called Canvas, as you can see down here, not to be confused with Canva. So this is just when Canvas is enabled at the bottom, it creates this view. All right, again, chat on one side, what you see on the other side. Somebody asked about language. Okay, so check this out. Right now it's in English. I'm gonna say up. Can I do this? Hold on, I'm gonna refresh this page because again, this is like bugging out a little bit. Let me see. Oh no, is it gone? Oh, interesting. Okay, let me try that again. Create a rubric about the life cycle of a butterfly. This will be used for my 3rd grade class. All right, it created that. I want to wait for it to be done. Okay, so it looks like it's done. Okay. Now, again, so this is Canvas. You have the like your artifact on the right, your chat on the left. Now, update this language to include a Spanish translation at the bottom. At the bottom of each English text. Okay. So I'm asking it to update it so it'll include. Oh wow. Yeah, even I get surprised when this works. So I'm gonna see if I can increase the text here. So I asked it to include Spanish translation. Again, make sure that you like actually go through it with somebody that knows how to speak Spanish and make sure that it all makes sense. But it did it automatically. So it added the Spanish translation at the bottom of every English text in there. So here's the English text. And then it has, actually like a code symbol to break it into the next paragraph. And then it has it in Spanish. So it did it in seconds. And so you can share this. Oh, wow. It even, man, that's great. It even has this at the total score. All right. So this is something that you can do. You can include all of these, features. You can ask it to do these things. And then, okay, Nick, is there a way to import a file? Absolutely. Absolutely. So when you're asking it, look at this little plus button. Again, one of the benefits of having this linked with your Google Drive, you can click on this plus button and then you can go straight to your @schools Google Drive or upload a file. I'll get to this later, but when you could absolutely upload files for this to analyze and get, uncover insights from data, but it's best to do it in like baby steps. And what I mean by that is don't upload a giant spreadsheet with all these different things and then ask it a question. Usually that doesn't work well. You want to start with like a specific set of data, ask some questions and go from there. But Nicholas, like you could, I think you should be using this to analyze data because it can help you, clean it up quickly, organize it how you want it. Many people are doing that already, and folks should try that. But you're welcome. But back to this. So what do I do with this rubric that I have here? Again, since this is linked with my @schools account, if I hit create, I can create different things: a web page, an infographic, a quiz. That sounds crazy. Share and export. If I click on that, I can quickly export this to a Google Doc. So I click on this, export to Docs. It's going to open up a new tab. I'm going to switch to it right now. And my information is here. And it's already in my Google Docs. I can share this with a teacher. I can continue to upload or edit this. I can put it in my Google Classroom. So, I think like having this already synced with your Google account it's just a seamless experience of like really reimagining how you do work. Like that's what it comes down to, everyone. And like, I want you to think about that. 50 million users in 5 weeks. Everybody from every industry, literally, sees how this is, and I hate using this word, but like disrupting everything. This is truly changing how we do work, how we think. So I want folks to think about like, how are you doing work now and how that work might be, updated or changed using these AI tools, because it's not even the future. This is how people are doing work now. And it's like, I truly believe this is like when the internet came out, right? When the internet came out, it changed how we do work. It changed how we communicate with each other. I think we're seeing a similar shift to everything with these tools. And there's challenges, there's benefits for sure, but there's also, challenges to how we do this. I just want to show everybody.
Can I ask the question? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Please, yeah.
Just because it's easier to just talk than to type it out.
Yes, yes.
So only because I'm brand new to this, like, it's okay, I mean, for us to be using this, or is it like, oh, the principals are going to check and say, oh, you didn't really write this up by yourself. You used assistants to do this. Like, I mean, you're saying everyone's using it, so I'm assuming that it's okay to use, but like, I know as far as students using it with writing papers, for example, I know that that's not okay, and you would want to be able to check that. Are there going to be ways that people are going to be able to check if this was authentic work, that, like, for example, if you write a letter to a parent, or I'm assuming because you're putting exactly what you want to say, it's not something you would find out on the internet or be able to see, but like, is it okay to be using these things and these tools in that way? Or is it kind of going to be like, oh, you didn't really do this, by scratch on your own, you got help, like, I don't know, you know what I'm trying to say?
I do know, Colleen, and like that's a wonderful question. I love that question, because I think we have to stop thinking about it in that binary of like, is it okay or not okay? Like, it's so incredibly nuanced, right? Like, again, this is like when the internet or technology came out. It's like, was it okay for somebody to use a typewriter versus writing on a pen and pad? And I know this is different, but I don't think there's anything wrong with using AI per se, but it's how are you using AI? So again, if you're using AI to create like your lesson plan, and then you don't check it, you just create it like in a lazy way, and you send it out, and it's not personalized, it doesn't take into account the students, it doesn't take into account you as a teacher, your voice, how you think, I don't think it's okay, because that it's so easy to take a shortcut with this. And I think that's one of the greatest challenges. The shortcuts are so easy, they're right there, it's so easy to do it. But if you're using AI to you're like, oh, I have an idea of this lesson plan, I wanted to include these things, you ask the chatbot, you go back and forth with it, you make sure that your message, your voice is in there, you're taking into account, like, maybe you have students with disabilities, so you're asking it to like modify your lesson to do that, then I think that's a home run. Like, that's how we should be using this to like not only save time, but make your lessons better and more engaging. And so it's not like, oh, is it okay to use AI? It's really how are you using it? Again, like going back to the lesson plan, like, let's say you only have 45 minutes to devote to a lesson plan. If you're starting from scratch, you're only going to get to a certain level. But if you already you ask it and it creates this thing, and then now you spend that 45 minutes truly personalizing it, I think everybody could win that way. So these are ongoing conversations. There's no right or wrong answer. Like, that's why this is so tricky. This is the Wild West right now with like how people are doing things. So I think there's no right or wrong. It's how you're doing it, if that answers your question. So I'll say one more thing. We ran this in-person session at the end of the school year in June. It was Gemini Academy. We invited a bunch of folks to Google, and we went over how to do these things. And there were some curriculum people from Central, and they were like, people were asking questions like, man, is it copy? Do we violate copyright if we take a page from HMH and put it into this? And the folks from Central were like, no, you're not violating copyright, just as long as you're not uploading the entire book and then like trying to make money off it or whatever. But like, as an educator, it's fair use, right? Like, you would take this curriculum from whatever anyway, and then modify it to better suit your class. And so why not take, a page or a lesson from whatever curriculum you're using, putting it into Gemini, adding a lot of context in terms of like, do you have English language learners? Do you have people, you know, that are more familiar with like this culture, or you have students with disabilities? How can we modify this lesson to be more personalized? I think that's, you know, like people are doing that, and I think that works well. You know, and you're not violating copyright. Again, this went through the IRMA approval process. You're using it for fair use. We're all, you know, figuring this out together.
Okay, yeah, I kind of thought that, but I just was wondering, like, is that now going to be a problem? Like, oh, now it's going to be like, who's using this and who's, you know, not using it, and you know, what, you know.
Aline, I think we're at the point, like, you just have to assume everything has been modified by AI at some point, like for real. Like even on social media, you know, whenever I go on LinkedIn, I'm like, yep, every post here was like, you know, doctored up with AI, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Again, like I'm a bad writer, you know, but like I know what I want to say, and like I'll use AI to help me with the grammar and everything. And it's kind of like that argument, like, are you cheating if you use spell check, you know? And like, yes, spell check's not going to write your entire thesis for you. But again, like you got to find that balance with what you're doing. So this can really be a tool to help you and like what you need to do specifically. But that's such a good question. Does anybody else have any questions like that? Okay. And yes, Josephine, like, yes, it's been approved. You can use it safely, but again, it really comes down to how are you using it, right? Like, it's so easy to be lazy with these tools, but really, we really got to fight that temptation and continue to, you know, make sure that our voice and like the content is accurate. So there's a term that's been in the AI space called hallucination. I don't know if people have heard that before, but what a hallucination is when you ask AI a question and it gives you something wrong. That happens all the time because these AI tools, first of all, like if you're new to all this, how these tools work is that these companies have scraped every piece of writing on the internet. Like when you think about that, that's insane. Every journal article, every newspaper article, every social media post, every blog post, everything, every piece of writing on the internet, these companies have scraped, put it into these large language models and used this algorithm to be like a very sophisticated predictive text, right? That's why I can say create a rubric of the butterfly life cycle, because it's trained on decades of how people created rubrics on information on this topic, and it created this in seconds. It's remarkable when you think about it. And then yes, it brings up a lot of questions about copyright and like who owns what. So we're all still figuring it out, but yeah, I don't think it's wrong to use AI. You got to think about how you are using it. And also, yeah, it kind of makes your job as a teacher harder, because now you can't say it. Now it's hard to assess what people know, right? You can't just say now you got to write an essay on X, because, oh yeah, if I'm in high school, yeah, first thing I'm going to is ChatGPT. Now we got to figure out like how do we be more creative about assessing what people know. So yeah, that's a completely different, you know, conversation. In the meantime, let's do this. I want to give everybody some time to play with this. I'm going to give you, I'll give you 10 minutes. Okay. Open up Gemini, put in a prompt, maybe something that you're working on, a lesson plan that you have. Again, you can upload something from that plus, upload a file, add it from Drive. Can you? Yeah, you can, Kim, and that's the crazy thing. So like, okay, so Kim was asking, can it analyze student responses based on the rubrics it's created? You can, or like existing rubrics. So how I would do that, and I'll give you some time to play. All right, how can I do this? Okay, so here's my butterfly lifecycle rubric. Hold on one second. All right, so if I were to do that, I would start a new chat. I would add a file from my Drive, and maybe I have the rubric in there already. So here's the rubric. So I'm going to add that rubric. And then I could add, you know, another file that has my students' work, or I could paste it in here. Actually, yeah, and I can say, you know, take this text and, you know, analyze it based on the attached rubric, and then I would paste in the student work, and then I would see how it comes out. A lot of this is trial and error, really. Maybe that doesn't work, so then maybe you got to update the prompt, or maybe you got to put in the student work first and then the rubric, or vice versa. Can it grade? Yeah, it can offer you a grade. Yes, yeah. So but again, like, that's a slippery slope. So you would have to determine what the grades are, and then you're essentially saying, okay, algorithm, analyze this and give it a grade. But then, like, that personally, I feel weird about that, because like everyone's like, oh, this is going to replace teachers. No, like, we need teachers even more, because like your students well, like, the nuance of the work. So you can have AI suggest the grade, and then you can go through it and make sure that it makes sense. Can it grade multiple choice? Probably. Yeah, probably. Like, test it out. I mean, you can already grade multiple choice questions using a Google form. I'm just trying to think like how you would do that, like in Gemini. Like pretty much the answer to anything is yes, because like these tools are so flexible. So yeah, multiple choice. Yeah, you'd probably like put in the question, and then the response, and test it out, right? Grace, you should be skeptical. Yes, you should be absolutely skeptical about its grading abilities. Yes, never lose that. Keep that. So let's play around with this. Okay, so let's take 10 minutes. I'll put a timer up on the clock. Go to Gemini, upload some things, upload your lesson plans, upload some student work, ask it to do something, and then we'll talk about it. We'll talk about how it worked for you. And then if you have questions, we'll share that. All right. So let me see if I can find a timer, 10-minute timer. All right. And I'll be here. So unmute yourself and ask me. And then I'll jump on and I'll answer your question. Hold on. All right. So I'm gonna share this on here. So go ahead. Let's play around with this for 10 minutes. And let me know if you have any questions. How can I turn my lesson plan into a slide? Josephine, how can we turn your lesson plan into a slide? If you don't have that, okay. If you ask Gemini, I think it'll do it. So here, let's test this out. And hold on. Okay, let's test this out. So again, if you don't have access to that pilot, you'll have it by the fall. But in the meantime, here, create a quick 30-minute lesson plan on the life cycle of the butterfly, or 3rd grade. And I'm going to leave that typo in there. So first, let me get a lesson plan, and then I'm going to see if this will turn it into a slide. Okay, great. So it gave me this lesson plan, 3rd grade, 30 minutes, learning objectives. It's got the materials. It's got the procedure. Again, I would have to make sure that it all makes sense. Now, turn this into a presentation I can share with my class. Make it 5 slides. Let's just see what happens. Let's see. Okay. I'm glad this happened. It didn't work. So you're supposed to see it here in the this like area. Let me refresh the page. Okay. So since the Gemini app is really like text-based, so it's giving you what the slide would look like. Okay, so you could copy this text and then put it into your slide deck, which I think would not be terrible. And then you can find your own images. But in terms of like creating the presentation automatically, yeah, like that's built into Classroom, and you don't have that feature yet. There are other tools online that claim to be an AI presentation generator. I'm super wary of those because, again, you don't know who made those platforms and you don't know what they're doing with your data. So you can test it out. Like there's like a million, you know, AI generated, you know, PowerPoints, but like platforms that will do it for you. But I don't really trust those. I think Canva or Adobe Express may have something similar. I'm not positive. But I would do this. I would just like copy and paste this into the Google Slides, and then you can just like make it your own. Like half the battle is just like figuring out what text to put on a slide anyway. So you can try this. Like that's one way to do it. And then when the fall comes, you can test out the auto-generated one in Classroom. Okay. Okay, I created a diagram of the human digestive system. Where do I go to upload to Google Classroom? Yeah, Stephen. So, oh, wait a minute. Tell me more, Stephen. So, okay, you created that text, and now first I would export it as a Google Doc, or you know, copy, like take a screenshot and make it like a presentation, and then you can put it in Classroom.
Okay, yeah, no, when you said go and create something,
Yeah.
I just did that.
Okay, good.
Gemini, but with regard to this session here, when you said upload it, are you saying not upload it here, but upload it to your Google Classroom?
Oh,
Is that what you're suggesting?
so for this like 10 minutes that we have right now?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I was just suggesting just play around with Gemini, not really uploading it anywhere, but just like seeing what you get. So
yeah.
So you got the diagram of the human digestive system. Like maybe you want to create like a quiz or like flashcards with that, or like, you know, an email to parents or whatever. So yeah, just play around with it. You don't have to upload it anywhere.
Cool. No worries. Thank you.
You're welcome. Nicholas, does our Gemini Access / subscription have different models? So yeah, just those two models that I showed you, Flash and Pro. Okay, so daily limit. Yes, good question, Nicholas. So I think, so what Nicholas is referring to, let me get a new chat here. So I believe you do have a limited number of chats with 2.5 Pro, and then you have more, like a higher limitation with 2.5 Flash. I'm not aware what the limits are though. And then if you do reach your limit, you have to wait until like tomorrow to do something, which is, yeah, that's annoying. I need to ask somebody what the limits are, because there are some limitations to the different AI features in the different apps. Because like this is built into, like later I'm going to show everybody NotebookLM, which is like, that's fantastic. That's one of my favorite AI tools. I know there's limits there. So again, if you wanted to like bump up the limitations you run into, you can ask your administrator to purchase a license on FAMUS. I think it's like, I just got an email about it this morning. I think it's like $135 for the year for one person. So you don't have to buy it for the school. You know, maybe you have like an AI pilot program at your school that has like 2 or 3 people. You know, if your budget allows, you can get this license just for 3 people or 1 person, and then your limits would be higher.
What is limited?
A certain, I think it's like a certain amount of chats that you can have depending on the model that you're choosing, whether it's like Flash or Pro. So let me get back to everybody on like what those limits are. So one of the many benefits of using 2.5 Flash for this, and that's like the default model, like you can talk to it more. All right. So that being said, I believe there is a limitation. So be mindful of like the conversations that you're having. Try to have it be like intentional of what you want. You know, you don't want to say like, hey, how was your day? You know, so you want to know like what you want to ask from that. But Nicholas, that's a great question. Yeah, and I'm sorry if I misspoke. Like I don't need anybody to upload anything anywhere. Maggie, I'm looking at yours. But if you did want to export it into something else, into like a Google Doc, it says create. Or actually, if you want it to be a Google Doc, you can click on this share and export button. And then you can either copy it or export it to Google Docs. And then if you wanted to, you can put it in Classroom or anywhere else. Or this is really interesting. Like when you hit create, you can turn this into something. So if I click quiz, I said earlier that these AI tools can now code for you. Like They can, which is, it's wild. Like you can make a website out of this. You can make an interactive out of it. So I selected make a quiz. So look, it made this on the fly. What is the very first stage of a butterfly's life cycle? I'm going to choose the wrong answer, caterpillar. All right. So look at this. It built this interactive like in seconds. And there's a way where you can put one of these in Google Classroom and have students interact with it, which is crazy. What is the main job of a caterpillar? Eat and grow. All right. So this is kind of a cool way to take information and test yourself. Special word for the amazing transformation. Hatching. Yeah. So you can test that out. So again, if you are in this like, here, where is it? Okay. I want to show you one more thing. Like if you still see my screen, if that canvas like 2-panel thing goes away, the artifact that it created is still in your chat. So as you can see here, butterfly life cycle lesson plan, it says open. If I click on this open, then it'll give me that view again. And if I wanted to see that interactive quiz again, I just scroll down to where that quiz was and I click open there. Okay, so all of these things still stay in the chat, but they're visually they're formatted like this, where you got to click on open and then it'll give you that. All right. So we're still, you know, practicing, experimenting with Gemini. 10-second timer here. And I'm going to give you all more time to work on this stuff anyway. All right. So I'll just bring it back real quickly. Oh, let me share my screen again. Share my tab. Okay. I did not get very far in my slide deck right now, which is fine. I want to hear what people did. Oh, okay. Question. How did you put the quiz into Google Forms? So we didn't necessarily cover that yet, but if the goal was to put a quiz into Google Forms, you can have Gemini create a multiple choice quiz. It'll give you text. Let me show you. All right. Well, I'll build off this. I'll build off what I have already. All right. So I'm in that same chat with the butterfly lifecycle. Create a 3-question multiple choice quiz. Oh, wait a minute. Kim, I think I know what you're asking. So how do I put this into Google Forms? Let me see. Great quiz. Give me those questions so I can put them into a Google form for a quiz. You talk to this like you would a person, which is weird. Because you can't put that quiz directly into a Google form. You need the text. All right, so here are the questions from the quiz formatted so you can easily copy and paste into a Google form. But it didn't give you the answers. Here, let me include the answer key. Or maybe it did already here. Okay, so there's different, yeah. So there's the answer key. If I wanted this interactive, this interactive quiz in a Google form, right now you can't do it, but you can. I asked it to give me those questions so I can copy and paste those into a Google form. Yeah, it's going to be a little tedious, but again, these things, they improve like every week. So that there might be an option to include this into a Google form.
So I have a question. So going back one step from what you just did, you had said make this into a Google slide. I think you said the life cycle of the butterfly.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did something similar
Okay.
about factors and multiples for math. And I first asked it to make me a lesson plan, and then I said, could you turn the lesson plan into a slideshow using Google Slides? And it did the same thing that it did on yours, but didn't actually show me the Google Slides. Can you Can it do that or?
So it cannot create a Google slide right now. So it'll only give you the text that you can then copy and paste into a
Okay,
Google slide.
I just wanted to make sure there wasn't something I was missing.
Yeah, no, it's all there for you, because yeah, I saw the same thing in the Gemini app. So then yeah, you would copy and paste it and put it into a Google slide. So yeah, again, unfortunately, like this create a presentation option still in pilot mode.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, like I'm going over a few things.
Okay, I didn't realize that was related to. Okay, that makes sense because I didn't enter it that way. I just typed in the prompt and I forgot about that part. So thank you. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Please let me know if you need more clarification on something. So again, you all don't have access to this yet. Unfortunately, I have it just for demo purposes. Hopefully by the fall, you all will get it. And then yeah, Kim. So I just asked Gemini to give me it as questions, and then you would just put this into a Google form. And then in Google form, there's a way to like make it a quiz, right? You can select what the correct answer is. So there's that. Another thing you can do, and this is, so man, there's like so many things you can do here. So here, when it gave me the lesson plan, under create, you could make it a quiz. But you can also ask it to generate a quiz through the chat window. And like, why would you do that instead of create a quiz? Well, because when I went through the create button and I created a quiz that way, let me open that up. So here's the quiz that it made. I don't see how I can export this quiz, right? Like it looks great, but I don't see how I can export it.
Thank you for going over that, because that's what I did, and I'm trying to figure out how to save this quiz.
Yeah, no, Teresa, absolutely. I'm gonna try something. All right, so
if you go to the bottom, I did it. If you go to the bottom, that little, like, it looks like a less than sign. It says share. That's how I share to a Google Doc.
Oh yeah. Okay, yes. Oh, gotcha. Thank you.
I don't know if that's right. That's what I did.
Oh, Maggie, thank you for sharing that. Okay, yes. So again, multiple ways to do different things. If you wanted to take the text and put into a Google form, you could highlight it like this, copy and paste, or as Maggie was saying, yeah, this icon, you can click export to docs. And then, okay, and it says open in docs. What does that look like? Oh, nice. Yeah, and it looks like this. Okay, and then you would copy and paste, the things into a quiz, into the Google form. What I wanted to also go over, okay, so it made that interactive quiz that we can't export, but if I say, now generate that quiz again as an interactive that I can, use. Okay, whatever. Again, simple prompt. What I wanted to do, let's see if it works. Okay, good. So it's coding right now. It's generating computer code in real time right now. And this is what I was referring to as in these things can code for you. Okay, so it should create something similar to that interactive, but the benefit of this is that you'll get to see the code, and I'll let you know why that's important. Okay, so man, what did that take? 10 seconds? Check this out. So question 1 out of 10, same thing. What is the very first stage of a butterfly's life cycle? So egg, right? Correct. Life cycle begins. Next question, main job. I'm going to choose the wrong answer. All right. So it's an interactive. What's different about this version is that, as you can see at the top, it says preview, and then it says code right over here. And so what I want to do with this code, is there an easy way to do this? Copy contents. I want to copy this code here. Let me see if this works. All right, so I'm going to copy this code because I get this question a lot. It's like, oh, hey, we built this really cool thing. How do I share it out? If I open up a new tab and I go to Google Sites, all right, you can go to the waffle, should be in here, sites, or like sites.google.com, and then you make a new website. In your website, let me see here, example code. This is really version 4. I've done this before. If I double click, I can add text, images, but I can also embed code. Does this work? I just pasted all of that code that was in Gemini. It worked. So look, now I have this interactive here. And then if I publish it, code v4, who can view this site? Anyone? And I'll paste this in the chat so you can interact with it. Okay, published it. Okay, oops. View published site. So this is how you would do that, okay? Without butterfly. Oh, that's okay. I'm gonna copy and paste this in the chat so people can interact with this. So I get that question a lot. It's like, oh, I built this really cool interactive in Gemini. How do I share it with with my students or anyone? At this moment, again, the workaround to share these things that you build in Gemini is you want to ask it to build an interactive, and then you want to see it code, and then you want to have this option where you can view the actual code and then copy and paste it and put into a Google site. I know this is a lot of steps. We're kind of getting ahead of ourselves, but I just wanted folks to know that it's possible to do these things. So yeah, let me know if you're able to see that website and interact with that thing. Let me go through the chat. Let me see what questions here. Maggie, you uploaded community workers and had to create a quiz. Made multiple choice quiz. Suggested I add pictures and exported using the same. Okay, great. Asked Gemini to create a few images. Oh, interesting. Grace, how did those images turn out for you?
I mean, they were good enough, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think that if I were really using it in my class, I would definitely put in more of an effort to maybe prompt it a little more and give it a little more specifics on exactly what I want to see.
Yeah.
Because I put in the essential question, like, to what extent can people find freedom or something like that. And it kind of gave me this guy like looking into the distance,
Yeah.
and like a bird, which if I were more specific, I think it could have done better.
Yeah.
I know prompting is important.
Absolutely. Grace, thank you so much for sharing that. I love that you asked it to generate an image. Here's my hot take on this. I like, as much of a fan I am of AI systems and how they can help, at this point in time, I'm actually not a fan of AI generated images, like in general. It does take a lot of prompting. It takes a lot of nuance. Sometimes, many times, I find it more appropriate just to find like stock footage from somewhere. But when images include like people or things like that, it gets kind of weird. If you're creating landscapes, if you're creating animals, actually, like if you wanted it to create like a snow leopard, they're actually pretty good. Or like a snow-capped forest, it works pretty well. But when it comes to like people, I think it's still hit or miss. Take that as what you will. But thank you for sharing that. A welcome letter, Alfred. Thank you. Okay, great. It would have taken it would have taken 20 minutes. Gemini completed in 20 seconds. Yeah, Alfred, man, that's the thing, man. Like, and that's like, okay, you would have taken 20 minutes to do that. Now you can take that 20 minutes and like, again, make it even better. Work on something else. This is a greater question, really. Like, yes, you will save time using these tools. The question is like, what do you do with that time? That is a greater question. And hopefully there's time to connect with your students, with your class, with your other colleagues. I've been encouraging people to do that. Let's get back to, I don't know, being humans again. So Alfred, I'm glad that worked out for you. Christina, you asked Gemini to create a list of child-friendly websites. Great. How to type. Okay. Christina, thank you for sharing that. I will say, please double check that those websites are real. I've done this in the past where I've had it create like a list of YouTube videos or websites, and they all turned out to be fake. And this, granted, this was okay, great, wonderful, Christine. I'm glad you checked it. Again, these systems are getting better, but like I remember like 4 months ago, I asked it to create a list of like a playlist of YouTube videos on a particular topic. Every video was fake. The link looked real. You clicked on it and it didn't take you anywhere. So yeah, again, hallucinations. These AI systems speak confidently 100% of the time, but sometimes they're wrong. Okay, so you as the educator, you want to make sure that this information is accurate. Okay. Oh, Grace, question.
I just want to add one more thing that I did because I thought it was useful.
Please.
So I put in it was only one lesson. I know a lot of teachers, I usually do like a week of slides, but I put in a singular lesson, Google Slides presentation, and then I put a lesson plan template. And I was like, can you input the information from the slides into the template? And it did a pretty decent job, which I think so I'm doing a dissertation on teacher burnout. So I think for younger teachers, especially who in the city feel like that pressure, like I need like a hard copy of a lesson plan, like that could be something that could be really useful. Like, so you're not spending, because I always found that super tedious and annoying. It's like the lesson's already planned. It just needs to end up in the template. So I thought that was a good use. And it did a decent job.
Thank you. Can you tell me a little bit more about your workflow? So were these both files in your Google Drive?
I just moved them to they were in my personal drive. So I made copies of them and just moved them into my DOE drive. And then I didn't upload them as a link. Like I went to my drive, pulled them both in there, and tried to be just, super specific about like these slides on, and I put the title of the slides, even though it's right there. Can you input it into the lesson plan template, labeled lesson plan template here? So again, like not amazingly perfect, but I think if you're in a bind and superintendent's coming tomorrow, you need a lesson plan. It's not bad to use.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
That's great. Anyone else? Like how's the experience working for you right now? Were you surprised by anything? Is anything working well? Is something not working that well? Feel free to unmute yourself. Feel free to put it in the chat. Hortense, thank you. Lesson plan for loops. Credit quiz, thank you. Very cool, very cool. Okay. The next thing I want to show people. Feel free to stop me at any time. The next thing I want to show people is gems, and I know I referenced that before. So what is a gem? Okay. Is it even worth going to my slide deck at this point? Let's see. Actually, really quickly, I will go to my slide deck. So there's a lot of talk about writing an effective prompt, and a prompt is what you're asking an AI chatbot, right? Like what question you're putting in there, like generate a lesson plan, make a rubric, make song lyrics, whatever. There's a lot of frameworks out there. There's a lot of suggestions on how to write an effective prompt. I lead sessions on these all the time. I lead sessions on this all the time. I personally forget what the acronyms are. Like what are the best ways? So like really, like my suggestion to everyone here, when you're prompt engineering, if you want to call it that, the more context, the better, right? Like who are you? What kind of teacher are you? Social studies? What grade are you working with? Again, like what are your students like? The more context, the better. And then it's a conversation. You want to go back and forth with it. So if you just say, hey, generate a lesson plan on the life cycle of the butterfly, it's going to give you something that is not on target with what you want. And take that as just like a nudge for you to say, oh, I just need to give it more context. And then you can say, oh, actually make this for third grade. Oh, actually make this 45 minutes. Oh, actually I have, students with disabilities here. Actually, I need this to, take into account, English language learners, particularly in Spanish. So you want to go back and forth with it. So you can call that prompt engineering, but like these are chat bots for a reason. You want to chat with it. So when you are interacting with these, and that's any tool, not just ChatGPT or Gemini or anything else, any AI tool, the more context, the better. All right. And then because of that, if you are using an AI tool that's not ERMA approved, try your best not to put as much personal information into it, because that's how these companies train their AI models. You know, free isn't really free, right? So if you're using, let's say, ChatGPT, that's not ERMA approved, and you put information in there, it's taking those conversations and adding it to its main database of text to train its models, and it's taking, you know, possibly like your personal information. So it's not doing that in Gemini, but just keep that in mind. Okay. Kim, this is a good question. Let me hold on one second here. Does it remember all your info to improve results, or do you have to rewrite every time? So Kim, you're asking like if it remembers. So right now, this version of Gemini, it's only remembering within each chat. All right. So if I had a chat about life cycle of the butterfly and I make a new chat and I'm like, hey, remember that life cycle of the butterfly thing that we did? Most likely it won't. Let me try that. Things have changed all the time. Hey, remember that life cycle of the butterfly rubric you made for me? Let's see. I stand corrected. Maybe it does remember. Actually, bring it up so I can see it again. Okay, here's something else. Oh man, that's crazy. This is, again, since this is part of your DOE account, it has access to your Google Drive, so you can ask it to find files in your drive. And I stand corrected, Kim. It does remember a lot of your info. And I think that is hit or miss depending on what you do, but like for sure, it remembers your chats, your conversations, so you can always pick up on that chat. But as we can see here, man, yeah, I guess it remembers it. It brings it up. Wow, yeah, it didn't do that before. Again, these systems are getting updated. But if you're concerned with having to rewrite something, I'm gonna go over gems in a minute. I'm just checking the chat here. Nasser, one more thing that I find works well. Ask if it has any clarifying questions before generating. Boom, yeah, right there. Yeah, absolutely. That's a pro move right there. Thank you so much for sharing that. So just to clarify, if you're asking it to build a lesson plan or something, ask Gemini if it needs any more context from you. Does it need any clarifying questions before generating? That's a great tip. Thank you. Oh wait, okay. Kim, if I'm asking to write for a specific class, if you keep adding info, will it keep adding on to it? Wait a minute. Can you give me more context, Kim, on that? Keep adding info.
Sure. So for instance, I'm teaching a ENL2 class and it's period 1 and not the period 6 class. Can I keep asking for it just so it's focused on that first class, that period 1 class, and the students in it and the types of learners in it? Will it be able to remember that specific class and the types of learners in it and the needs of that class? So when I ask it to create an activity or specific scaffolds for that class, I don't have to keep saying exactly the scaffolds needed, or it'll just generate it.
Yes, I would say particularly within that chat. If it's all in that chat, it'll remember what you talked about before. Like if you described that class in detail in the beginning of the chat and you kept on creating things and then you reference it later in the chat, it'll do that for you.
So would it be a good idea if I'm writing a lesson that I start with the chatbot when I'm asking the question, say can you help me write a lesson for my period 1 ENL2 class? In this class I like front load all the information and then it keeps going back to it.
Yeah, and what I would try, what might be interesting, is you would create a new chat, and the beginning is just describing that period 1 class, and then you could rename it, period 1, pin it, and then you would just go back to that same chat, and then you would ask it to create the different lessons, because the beginning of the chat, you've already, as you said, you front loaded it with the description of what that class looks like. And so let's say, it's like you upload information about them or you write it in here. Like I have a period 1, class that is, EL who speaks Spanish. Okay, what have you. So like you could have that on there, give it more context, and then I would pin it. It's going to have your chat here on the side. I would rename it, period 1 class. Rename it, and then you could pin it, and it's always going to be there. And then, yeah, where'd it go? Oh, I'm in it right now. And then you would just go back and ask it to create a lesson plan on whatever. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you. So theoretically, I could include all the students in that class too and say, Joshua needs X, Y, and Z.
Yes.
And Caitlin needs X, Y, and Z. And then in the future, I could ask it, please make a specific worksheet for Joshua on lesson 2. Please make a specific lesson for Caitlin on lesson 2. And it would differentiate based on what the parameters I put in the beginning, right?
Yes, you could do that. But Kim, I love that question because it's a perfect segue to GEMS. Man, Pedro, I got bad news, man. You can't remove a chat right now. I know it's weird. You can't delete chats. I think they're going to offer that, and it sounds weird, they're going to offer that option in the future. But right now, all of your chats are going to show up. And yeah, man, it's going to get clogged just like mine. I got a bunch of chats here. So I definitely utilize the search bar, but I don't know. Again, these systems update often. So in the meantime, utilize pinning chats, utilize renaming things, utilize this search bar at the top. So yeah, right now you can't remove chats, unfortunately. But Kim, another option that you can do, again, if you want to reference material such as like your class, the specifics of your class, I want you to, let's take a look at GEMS. And so what are GEMS? So if I hover my mouse over these 3 lines on the left side, yes, you can click on it and then the sidebar will be there. These are some GEMS, or there's something that says explore GEMS. If I click on that, okay, you have some pre-made GEMS by Google. So a brainstormer, a career guide, etc. But then I have GEMS that I've made here. Okay, so again, a gem is a personalized chatbot that you pre-program with information. So theoretically, Kim, to your point, you could pre-program it with information about your class, and then this gem could be named, period 1 class. So let me give you an example of what a gem does. So I created one here, a field trip planner. All right. So this is the gem. Again, it looks like a regular Gemini chat, but this is the gem I'm in. And then I'm just going to say 6th grade math, okay? And I hit enter. And so what I pre-programmed this with is that I want it to give me field trip examples based on the grade and subject that I put in. And I want it to give me ideas of like field trips. And I want it to also give me the location, how much it might cost to go there, and a brief description, website, etc. Okay? So the first one, okay, 6th grade math field trip, it's suggesting the Intrepid. Does it give why? Okay. Concepts like measurement of the ship, aircraft, scale models, navigation. And so I didn't have to prompt this already because I already put it in. So I just typed in a very quick prompt and it gave me all of these responses. Hall of Science, website, estimated cost. This is, I mean, it should have started with the Museum of Math. Math problem solving, Highline, while not a traditional math museum, real world math concepts, students can observe architectural designs. Okay, so it gave me that automatically. So that's an example of, let me try it again. All right, so let me say, 4th grade history. All right, so same thing, Ellis Island, New York Historical Society. All right, so what does this look like? How is it doing this? So if I go to, again, if I go to these lines over here and I go to explore GEMS, all right, you want to go to explore GEMS. If I go to this field trip planner and I click on this edit button, I'll show you what it looks like under the hood per se. All right, so the instructions, you are an interactive field trip assistant. Your aim is to greet the user, ask for the grade level and subject. As you can see here, the interaction should be friendly. After receiving the user's input, give me the field trip name, location, the grade level, brief description, website, estimated cost. Okay. So you can put whatever personal instructions you want. You can include, and you can upload information on here as well. So let me start from the beginning, and then I'm gonna give everybody time to build their own gem. Okay. So again, if I highlight my mouse over here on the top left, explore gems, you want to create a new gem. All right. And this could be like a lesson plan generator. All right. Lesson plan generator v2. Okay. And then you can give instructions, and I can say, you know, you will ask the user who will be a teacher or who is a teacher what grade and subject they teach. You will then generate a lesson plan that I'll say incorporates the ISTE standards. You will list the standards that are included in the lesson plan. Okay, so again, this is a kind of like so-so prompt. Add whatever you want in there, but I want to call out this. You have, there's Gemini built into this to enhance the instructions that you put in there. Alana, okay, so actually Gems is in Google Classroom, but that's, I don't want to get into that just yet. That gets a little tricky, a little confusing. For this example, Gems is built into the Gemini app, and I think this is the best way to start with them now, Alana. So let's we'll start with this one. Okay. So these are my instructions for this gem. Again, personalized chatbot. I'm asking it to create a lesson plan. This prompt is like so. So if I click on this Gemini rewrite button, it's gonna look through my prompt, and it's gonna suggest ways where it can be improved. And again, I can choose whether to take these suggestions or not. Purpose and goals: generate a comprehensive lesson plans for teachers, incorporate explicitly ISTE standards, behaviors, initial inquiry, greet the user, what do you teach, etc. Let's go with it. Overall tone: maintain professional, use a clear, concise, pedagogical language, etc. Okay, so these are my instructions. I'm just going to hit save, right? You could also preview. I'm just going to hit save. So now if I go to the side here, click on those lines, my lesson plan generator is under gems at the top. So let's test this out. Hi. All right, what grade do you teach? Okay, great. In 9th grade, social studies. Topic. All right, World War II. All right, so it's creating the lesson plan. It's giving me 90 minutes. And you can go back and modify this. Maybe you want to include in the instructions that you want it to be 45 minutes or whatever. You can update this to be whatever you want. Learning objectives at the front, materials needed, procedure. Again, you can choose to have it include this or not. My main thing with this is I wanted to include the ISTE standards, the International Society for Tech in Education. Oh, look, here it is. Standard 1, empowered learner, knowledge constructor, and it's including the justification of why it's in there. So again, if I'm creating lesson plans all the time, I don't need to prompt this again. I can just open this gem. It's always going to be there. Boom, 8th grade, geometry, and then it's gonna show up. Okay. I want people to experiment with this. Does anybody have any questions on this before I give you time to work on it? Okay. I'll be here if you have any questions. Put it in the chat.
I just have now one. I just want to reiterate to make sure I understand. So that the gem is basically you're making your own generator, and then so from then on in, you're going to be able to put in your lesson title, and these are the things you're going to always look for.
Yeah. So again, it's like I've been always like trying to figure out the best way to describe a gem, and at this point, I think like it's a personalized version of Gemini. It's a personalized chatbot. So if the challenge is, oh man, I gotta do this task over again, and I don't want to keep adding this prompt over and over again, you're gonna build lesson plans multiple times throughout the year. So instead of having to go to, open up a new chat, type in the prompt, go through it, you can just go to your gem that's already in there. It already knows what the output's going to be, and then you just do this. And then I just want to, show this one more time. Explore gems. If I wanted to edit this, you can upload files here under knowledge. It's like maybe whatever lesson plan it submits, I want to also have it take into account, maybe these other resources, maybe this other rubric in there. Maybe I wanted only like a specific number of standards. I can attach that on there. So it can run through this whole process. Maybe you wanted, some other specific resource in there. And then instead of having to do this every time, it does it automatically. Okay. So I'll give you all 15 minutes. Oh, Nicholas, yes, question.
Thanks, Nancy. Yeah, so just to clarify, if it's okay, like the gem, like the way that it operates, like, would you say that creating the gem is like an effective way, or maybe the most effective way to evaluate, let's say, like a specific assignment for students? Like, for instance, if there was like, a region style argument essay, something like that. That way you don't have to like keep re-prompting it. Like, is that like a concept that you've seen or that you would recommend or that could work?
Yes, man. I love that approach. Yes, like most of like this. So we work with school leaders and teachers, and when we talk about gems, it almost always goes to this idea of evaluation, because you can upload like specific like resources that the AI will take into consideration when it's evaluating. And so like, yeah, we're, for better or worse, we work with school leaders on like streamlining the teacher observation process. And so like the Danielson rubric will be in there, and then you can put in your like low inference notes, and then it'll like just organize it better for you. So then if you're, you were saying you grade the regions. Yeah. So like, whatever your rubric is, or, what material you have, you can upload that into this gem. And so you can either copy and paste what you're going to grade or upload a document, and then it's already going to run through this process that you outline.
Okay.
And then,
cool. So
yeah,
if I wanted to do like, I'm sorry, I mean to like steal the show, but like if you wanted to like do like multiple, okay, like grade this essay now, like instead of having to like do it through like the other view, like the Gemini that like kind of like looks like ChatGPT, right?
Yes.
Would you say that this is probably the more like consolidated way? That way it's like kind of in one spot for like, okay, this is just for argument essays, this one gem, this one is for, or maybe also like, I guess for like, let's say coaching teachers or something like that. And like what I just did was I took like multiple PDFs from like a unit.
Yeah.
And then I was like, provide me positive and constructive feedback. And then I kind of broke it down, like using those different, like, I guess, resources. So I guess something like that too. That way it's like all kind of housed in one spot for the type of thing you want it to do.
Absolutely. Yes. Emphatic. Yes. And I think it's better that way, because like, as you see here, so if I'm going to a new chat, it's just blank canvas. But if I go back to specifically my field trip planner gem, what it shows down here are my past interactions of this gem. So to your point about like teacher coaching, you could start a new chat with the gem just on that specific teacher, and you can revisit it later in the future. So like maybe, like quarter one, you work with this teacher, and then you use the gem to, generate this information. The next quarter, you can go back, and then you can use like what you uploaded before, and then you can track the progress of it. And then you would just go through your chats, all of it. Again, I hope there's a better way to organize these chats in the future. But all of the teachers that you've worked with for coaching, they're all going to be in their individual chat within that gem. And then you can just build off that. So like it is a much better way to organize and like keep all of that, I guess, like confined,
Cool. Thanks, Andy.
Yeah. If anybody has more questions, I'll be here. Feel free to put in the chat. Feel free to unmute. I'm going to turn my camera off. So I'll give it 20 minutes. Play around with the gem, and then we'll check back in. Okay, I'll be here. I'm gonna put on a timer. So I'll give you 20 minutes. Play around with the gem. 20-minute timer. Here we go. All right. So yeah, test it out, and I'm here if you have any questions. So we'll all get back together in about a minute. I don't know if anybody had any questions during the break. Please feel free to let me know if you do.
Just hello, hi, how you doing, NASA?
Hey.
Just wanted to know, the gyms, right? Can you make it take a personality of someone else?
Yes, absolutely. So the whole thing with the gems is that like you can give it instructions on what do you want it to be. So yeah, if you wanted to, you can have this gem take on the persona of, you know, like a person from the past or a historical figure, you know, and you know, you would upload context about this person, you know, maybe what you want to focus on. Yeah, what did you have in mind?
No, because no, I was just using it and I asked it to generate a lesson plan, and I gave it a template, and it answered me. You know, it started, cursing me out basically.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he says, "All right, you listen up, you MF. You want a lesson plan? That ain't no punk. You got it.
Are you serious?
You gotta follow some goddamn rules." That's why I'm wondering, because I don't know if when I used it last time I told it to take a persona of a character or something.
Wait. Wait, so you created a new gem. You just uploaded some information about just like a
Right. No, it was not a new gem. It was a gem that I created before. It says scratch curriculum on it.
Oh, dude, you need to check the instructions, man.
No, there's no instructions. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So I because I'm looking at it, because the only thing I only uploaded was just the template.
Interesting. Are you able to share your screen?
Yeah. Let me do that right now.
Because like if this thing's like cursing at you, yeah, I want to. We should get to the bottom of this.
It's just the weirdest thing.
Yeah, there's like a little square thing at the bottom with it. Okay.
Right. So here.
Do me a favor. Yeah, go to the 3 lines at the top left, and then.
Right. So this is it.
On the 3, yeah, and then the 3 dots. Yeah, and then.
See, it doesn't even allow me to edit it.
Interesting.
Because like I said, I don't know if I did this before, and then I asked it to take a persona of a movie character or something like that. You can do that, right?
Well, I'm confused because you can't edit it. Do me a favor. At the top, the circle with your name, with your icon, all the way on the right. I'm sorry, all the way on the right. Yeah, click on that. Oh, that's so wild, man. That's so wild. Okay. Last thing, go to explore gems on the left. Scratch create. Can you click on the? Oh, look! Every response you give me should be in the voice of Samuel L. Jackson's character.
Oh, okay. Because
that's so funny.
That's hilarious. Royale cheese. Yeah. Click on. I want to see. That's so fun. That's the only instruction. That's hilarious.
Right. Okay. I see.
Okay.
Because I'm wondering, I'm like, what is going on here? Yeah. Because
Can we see the template from the Google Drive that you had from 2024 that says it, the original one?
No. The lesson
from the knowledge base?
Right. That's just.
Wait, you want him to click on the template?
Yeah, I just want to see what it did, what it was using.
That's so funny.
That was basically a simple curriculum template.
So funny.
for running a lesson plan. But no, I was in your
So how
June
did it get Samuel L. Jackson from that?
No, I was in your June 18th PD that you had in Google. And
Gotcha.
I think you had instructed us to use characters, and I had done that. And,
Okay. All right, Nasser. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for that context. So Nasser joined us in person for our Gemini Academy, and then I like framed everything in like movies. And so I was like, yeah, let's create a gem, and you choose what character. And I guess
right.
that's so fun. Samuel L. Jackson in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, my group, we had the Pulp Fiction. We mixed it up, when we're generating.
Yeah. That's hilarious, man.
Right.
So once you create a gem, could he change that, or that's it?
No, you can change it.
Yeah, I can change that. No, I can change that.
Okay.
I just that I forgot where to what
change it.
So if you were to change it to a different character from a movie,
Somebody give us a character.
What's a good
Gandalf.
character?
I don't know, Gandalf.
Woody from Toy Story, my son said.
From what?
Okay.
My son said Woody from Toy Story.
Okay.
Woody from Toy Story.
I mean, make it to where it's school appropriate,
I mean, that should be okay.
No,
Let's
that-
leave it at that, and then click update, please, at the top right. And then stay in this window, and then just ask something where it says enter a prompt. Just ask something. But this is for lesson plan, right? Just say yeah.
Yeah.
This is so funny. So when I share this recording, it's like, do I blur that out? No, I'm not going to. Oh, look. Yeah.
Oh, howdy part. Look, Jojo, it says howdy partner. Woody here.
Right. Okay. So that's Woody. That's definitely Woody.
Yeah. Definitely more appropriate for public schools here. I guess the
Right.
best school. I thought. Thank you for sharing that. Nasser, thank you for sharing this.
No problem. No problem.
You can not share your screen anymore. I'm glad that we got to the bottom of that. That was hilarious because that actually something similar happened to me like 3 years ago when ChatGPT first came out. Like I was doing a PD. I was like one of the first PDs on AI. There were a bunch of people on there, and then I was like, yeah, you can have this talk in the style of whomever. So I said, talk to me in the voice of Tony Soprano. Of why did I choose that? And then it started swearing at me like live in front of people. So anyway, I'm glad we figured that out. Yeah. So Nicholas, did you try creating a gem? Like for like coaching or what have you? Were you able to try that?
Yeah, I just tried it with some materials that I've used in the past, like a unit plan, timeline, project-based learning prompts, the rubric with it, and then I have like a slideshow for a novel that I did from like day one all the way to the end.
Okay.
And then it provided feedback. I asked it to create like positive and constructive feedback with that, just to see what it would come up with, and like bulleted everything out.
So it was like helpful, like what it gave you?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely a good starting point. Like I think whether it's like evaluating student work or teacher work, anything like that, like of course I'm always going to vet that and go through it first to see then make specific changes or tweaks, things like that. But it's a really great point of reflection.
That's awesome.
Wonderful. Thanks.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Yeah, Santi, I have a quick question.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah.
That's all right. So when I use the gems, I know that Google Gemini has the ability to make apps where you just kind of give it. Remember last time when you were doing, you did another PD in May time and you were showing us how to do that. I guess I can't do that in gems. In other words, I can't give it instructions to create like an app for, how computers work, blah, blah, blah. I could only do that in the regular Google Gemini, right? Because I just tried it and it didn't work. It just gave me lesson plans, activities, but it didn't give me that app, which I know it does have that feature.
I gotcha. Yeah, I guess if you wanted to make an app, like you would go to Gemini.
To Gemini, not
Yes.
through Gems.
Yes.
Gems would only give me lesson plans, not interactive type activities.
I mean, you know what? I kind of take that back. You could program a gem to like suggest like an interactive. Hold on one second. Let me.
Because I did it and it just gave me the lesson and the outline. You know, like my prompt was create an because I'm a tech teacher, and I just said create an interactive, engaging app about how computers work using input, process, and output, and make it in the style of a Minecraft.
Oh, and then what it do?
And so what it did, it gave me what is a computer, it gave me the lesson, the objectives, it gave me, because I already have my instructions on, you know, referencing the what do you call it, the standards. It gave me how to drag and drop. It gave me 15 minutes, you know, what to say, good morning, introduction to the lesson. So it gave me really just a lesson plan with activities.
I guess in that case, like, you would have to take that idea and then go to the regular.
Got it. Okay.
I'm like testing it out here. Again, it's all trial and error. Kim, Kim, did you have a question?
Yes, when you mean an app that students could download onto their phone and use as like to practice, and is that what you mean by an app?
Yeah, I mean, you can do with Google Gemini, you can literally, I've done it before. You can create an app, export it with the link, and then kids can actually interact with it. You can include a quiz in the app and everything. Yeah.
So I was giving a demonstration of this, like, when
in May, I think.
Yes. So that, and then and also, like, what I did today, you know, I had it create this like interact, like, so this is considered an app. This is a web app that I took the code, I put it onto a Google site, and then I shared it in the chat. Like, anybody, like even students, can use this. But yeah, you can do similar things. Like, you can create any type of app really within Gemini. Does that answer your question, Kim? Did you need more context?
Yeah, no, I was just wondering if, like, a student, you know, like vocabulary.com has an app where you download and then students can put in stuff. And I was just wondering if it was similar to that, like, would actually create a mobile app, not a website app, but like a.
Oh, well, like app can be, you know, that's a term that could be used like loosely. So like, if you're talking about an app that you like download on your phone, like, that gets tricky because let's say you have an iPhone. For you to download an app on it, like, you need to go through the app store, and like, that's a whole like process. The thing is, you can do that using like these AI tools to help you code. But if the goal is to just have them interact with this like interactive app like quickly, I think the easiest way is like either through a Google site and then just share the link like that. You can still do that on your phone, like that website. I'll put it in the chat one more time. This website, where we just built an app today, like this will work on your phone, and then you can still have that interactivity.
Right. No, I was just concerned with students that don't have Wi-Fi access once they get home.
Oh, okay.
So a website wouldn't necessarily be something. So it's something they could do offline.
Gotcha. Okay. Man, you know, there's a part of me that, like, if you ask Gemini, you know, what a possible solution to that may be, it may give you one. It may give you like a technical like solution to have it saved offline. I think like if they have a device, like, you could probably put all of the like assets in a folder and then have them run it. Yeah, like that would be an interesting conversation to have with Gemini. Just real quickly, Irsan. Actually, let me just take a look at these here. Okay. So Pedro, you created a lesson, a quiz. Fantastic. Wonderful. I'm glad you did that. Josephine, can you give it a grade specific? Oh, okay. To state. Yeah, I mean, it's all in the instructions. Whatever instructions you put in the gem, like even when you're having a conversation with like just a regular Gemini chat, if you give it like a specific grade, like it'll stay within those parameters. And then Irsan, can you program gems for coding? So if you go to Explore Gems, there's actually a coding partner that was made by Google. I've not played with it much, but this will help you like understand concepts of coding, and it can help you build code also. So like, this is a greater conversation. What does it mean to be a computer scientist in 2025? What does it mean to teach CS? Like, that's changing also because of these tools. So you can use that also. All right. Any other questions? Anything else people want to share with how they use gems?
I often do presentations, so I asked it to do like template questions as I do presentations.
Oh, nice.
You know,
Oh,
like lesson plan presentations, staff presentations, that kind.
and it gave you like example questions to ask the group.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, for me to think about
Oh,
as
okay.
I'm creating the presentation.
How was it? How are the questions?
I'm good. I mean, obviously, you think about your audience, your objective, but
Yeah.
you know, to prompt me through that would be helpful.
That's cool. Very cool. Did somebody have their hand up? Did you have your hand up?
Hey, Sandy, can you hear me okay? Sorry.
Yes. No, you're good.
Yeah, so I think two things. First was about like, I guess, student work. So the question I was asking earlier was about like the limit on the AI model. So I guess that would be my one concern with let's say if I'm grading an assignment. And obviously again, like, you know, I think that this is something where it can get into great territory about it, but I do think that like it's better to at least like, you know, see what it says, you know, the evaluating of it and like, you know, using that feedback and taking it from there, adding my own. But I guess I would be curious about like how much it could do with that. Like, you know, if that's the way that it is going. And then I think also, I guess like a workaround would be like, okay, if I have, you know, 2 sections or 2 classes, like maybe break it up, like one group, I grade one day, the next group the next day. You know, so I'm just thinking about like, I guess that perspective in terms of just like, we were talking about like, you know, time consuming tasks and just thinking of like how to make it pragmatic, but also where like, you know, let's say I'm grading like the 15th paper and then it runs out on space, other like AI models. So I'm just trying to think about like whether or not to use it, like how to use it effectively, ethically too, and also just, you know, making it like the most bang for my buck. So
yeah. No, that makes sense. I just messaged Danita, who helped, you know, organize this. So she's the, you know, K-12 lead from Google. I asked her what the limits are for New York City Public Schools. I'll share with everybody what the limits are. I mean, that's, you know, of course, like you want to keep that in mind. You don't want to be in the middle of a project and then you run out of, you know, like AI conversations. So I'll find out. Yeah, workaround. I think that's a good suggestion that you put out there. Just like chunking it into like maybe different days. But also like you do have access to other AI tools. So let's say you start something, worst case scenario, like there's a deadline, it's due today. Like you really need support with your AI, with Gemini, but like you run out. I mean, you do have access to Microsoft Copilot also. You could continue the conversation in Copilot, like that is ERMA-approved. Like those are the 2 main large language models that are approved, Gemini and Copilot. And like, yeah, Magic School is also approved as well. But I believe with the Gemini app and like 2.5 Flash, I think the limits are high. But again, I'll find out. I'll send it over, and then, you know, if you do reach those limits, then I would almost consider you, you know, like an advanced user. If you're hitting those limits, then it's the conversation you might want to have with, you know, your principal. Is there money in the budget to buy that license? You know, again, $135, not terrible for the year, to increase the limits and increase, you know, having access to Gemini and your other tools also. But all this to say, I'll find out what the limits are and I'll share with everybody.
Thanks, Santi. And the other thing I was going to mention too, I think where it could be really practical or really advantageous is also like in teacher teams. Let's say if it's like evaluating student work and looking at like, you know, high performing, middle of the road, and like students that need support. And I think it could be something that I'm just trying to think of like how it could be used, whether it's like, because if it has like access to our drive,
yes,
and there's like shared files and resources, whether it's like looking at the materials we use collectively as teachers, right? Like whether it's like ELA or grade team, or if it's like looking at the student work too, I think it could be something that's really beneficial on that front too.
Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up. And then that makes me think about something that is coming soon. It's a feature that's coming soon. So right now, there's no way to share gems. So like, let's say you create a really wonderful gem about, you know, evaluating student work or coaching teachers. At this moment, the only way to share that gem is to copy the instructions in a doc and then share that with somebody, and somebody will copy and paste and essentially make their own gem doing the same thing. Coming soon, I'm not sure when the timeline is, but it's coming. We'll be able to share gems. So that's something to keep in the back of your mind. And I think that's going to be really helpful for teacher teams and just like schools that are really like leaning into these tools. I think like an ideal environment is where, you know, your administration have this set of gems that are standardized that, you know, they want the teachers to use. And so the teachers don't need to make the gems. These are vetted by, you know, an AI team at your school or what have you, and then you share the gems, you can use them. Taking a step further, something that I want to help create, these gems really should be coming from Central also. Perhaps Central is creating these gems. Like all these schools, yes, they're different, but you all go over similar tasks, right? So it'd be interesting to have these gems coming directly from Central. So these are all ideas that we're working on. Hopefully they'll come to fruition this year at some point, but know that that's coming, sharing gems.
Santi, can I ask one other question? This is a little advanced. Do you know, I know that they've released the agent on the regular, actually, well, do you know if that's going to be coming? I'm getting confused because I use ChatGPT a lot. So I know they've released agent on ChatGPT. Do you know if anything like this is going to be coming with Gemini, that agent feature?
Yeah, no, I love that question. Alana, yeah, sounds like you're a power user. More power to you. So for folks that are new to this, the current conversation now with big tech companies, AI companies, it's this conversation around agents. And what that means, it's an AI that can do something on your behalf and take action. So example, like what can an agent do? Let's start with a challenge. Living in New York, it's hard to find an affordable apartment in a neighborhood you like. Typically, what's the process for that? You got to look online, these different websites, wait for something to pop up, you know, contact a realtor right away, organize a meeting, you know, make sure that it checks all the boxes. It's a very manual, time-consuming process. Theoretically, you could use an agent and say, hey, scour the internet in this neighborhood, in this price range for an apartment with X amount of rooms. And if you find it, contact a real estate agent and then set up an appointment. So that's the difference, right? So right now we're using gems, we're using Gemini to create things like lesson plans. It's all like contained within the system. An agent will go out and like do things for you. It'll like buy things for you if you link your credit card with it. That's kind of scary to give an AI that amount of, you know, decision-making autonomy. So ChatGPT is testing that out. Google has something like that. That's not really in the education system right now. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think there's a lot of testing that needs to happen with that. But if you think about that concept, an AI agent that will go out and do something for you, know that that's coming. Actually, like we do have an agent-like feature that I'm going to show you. It's called Deep Research. But Alana, to your point, there's nothing like that yet.
Okay.
And again, I don't know if that's a bad thing.
I mean, I'm just exploring because it's out there, and you know.
Oh, good for you, because that's the big conversation now. And to play devil's advocate, so that sounds cool, right? Like, oh man, this agent can go out and do things for you. Devil's advocate, like what I'm hearing right now, a lot of criticism I hear of these agent tools is that, like, in theory they sound great, but in actual practice, like it still has a long way to go. And I don't know if that's your experience, Alana, or what, but like what I've seen in the demos is that, yeah, it'll go out and like do these tasks, but it's still not there yet. You know, it may purchase the wrong thing or like call the wrong person. So know that this is the conversation, and that's where the industry is moving, but we're not there yet. But I'm glad you brought that out, because like I'm going to show you, the next thing I'm going to show you has an agent-like feature. But before I get to that, Grace, I love that you share this. As you created a gem for thesis grading, but it was tripping up. I would love to hear the mistakes it was making, if you're able to share.
Yeah, so I put in I like made the Gemini thesis grader, and then I put in a model thesis, what a thesis statement should have. I put like an excerpt from the AP literature rubric, and then I put some common feedback that I give. And then whatever, I saved it. I think that it was just getting tripped up where like I have this thing where I write to kids like 1 to 3 sentences, like be more concise. And it was picking up on a couple things using my feedback, but then it was telling every single thesis 1 to 3 sentences, be more concise, even though I was deliberately making 1 sentence vague thesis statements.
I see.
So yeah, so I think it was picking up on some of it, but maybe I could have been more clear with my feedback. I did try it with ChatGPT, and it actually worked a little better, where it was using my feedback pretty effectively. Because I've been thinking a lot about like how students can use AI for feedback. Like if I'm in a class of 34, you know, and I'm bouncing around, like I'm not saying I will eventually get to them, but if they could, you know, throw their thesis in ChatGPT quick and get some feedback before I get there, you know, but again, there's that, you know, what I would probably have to create the prompts for kids. Sorry, I'm talking a lot. I'm just kind of thinking out loud, you know, about like most effective use, because I am so not on board with the grading, because I just know I can give better feedback.
No, thank you so much for sharing that.
Sure.
Going back to, I feel like at this point, ChatGPT, Gemini, there's another popular large language model called Claude. I think they're more similar than they are different these days. Some may work better in other instances. I think it comes down to, like how the prompts are being, you know, organized, and like sometimes it helps to like be very explicit in terms of like the sequencing of it. It's like start with this, even like renaming the document, you know, document 1, whatever, start with this, do X, Y, and Z, then do document 2. So sometimes that helps, but also, these large language models get improved like over, you know, like every month. And so I would try it again, maybe at the beginning of the year, and seeing how it works. So it's a lot of trial and error to see how this stuff works. And I'm glad that you said that you believe you give better feedback. I believe you do also. And it's like, where do we find that space where, you know, this could be like a in between, whatever, stepping stone for students to get to you. Grace, you like Claude a lot too. Yeah, that's my secret. I'm a big fan of Claude. But in terms of safety and like just like being a workhorse, I think Gemini, you know, works really great. Yeah, absolutely, Nicholas, I agree. Students self-evaluating their own work. Okay. Anybody have any other questions before I show something next? This time is flying by, man. We're not even gonna get to vids that much. Okay, I want to show everybody 2 quick things, and then I'll do a brief thing on Google Vids. So we did a lot of exploring with GEMS and the traditional Gemini app. If we go under tools, I don't know if anybody has used this, but deep research is incredible. And this has agent-like features. So again, an agent, oh, that's interesting. That's brand new too. It's suggesting what to research. So an agent will go out and do things for you on your behalf. So this is what deep research does. So how did I get here again? So I'm in a brand new Gemini app. Under tools, if I click tools, I can select deep research. And what this does, you put in a research question, and it's going to analyze the internet and search the internet for your research question. It's going to search through multiple websites, and I'm talking like 50, 100, 150 different websites that all relate to your research question, and it's going to generate a research paper on this question. It's pretty remarkable. So as you can see here, this is new too. It's suggesting different things to research. Efficient hybrid and electric cars, AI campaigns for annual planning. What I usually test this out with, I'll say, you know, I am a school leader at a middle school in NYC. You know, I need help drafting our AI policy, you know, research. I'm going to use my microphone. Research existing AI policies within New York State, as well as the United States, as well as globally, and help me understand the things that work to help us create our AI policy. Okay, so again, you want to give it as much context as possible. I click deep, make sure that deep research is selected. You want to put in any research topic. I'm going to hit enter. It's going to analyze my prompt, and it's going to suggest, or it's going to give me its research plan. So this is the plan that it's going to take. All right, so let me see if I can increase it. Okay, so it's going to research existing AI policies for K-12 in New York State, investigate national level AI policies, explore more global AI policies, analyze common themes. It's going to do all of these things. Yes, Grace, yeah. Similar to Perplexity, absolutely. It's going to do that, and you can modify this. You can modify this report. So it's going to be ready in a few minutes. I'm gonna start research, and this usually takes about 5 minutes or so. And then what's interesting, it's going to show you its thinking. It's going to show you what it's doing. So right, it's like it's insane, man. So it's already giving me a list of websites that it's combing through. And that's only the beginning. It's going to continue to do this for about 5 minutes, and it's going to give me a pretty detailed report. I did this already. I'm going to see if I can go into my previous chats.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
I don't have the tools button that you have, that you clicked on with the 2 lines and the little circles next to Canvas there. It goes right to deep research.
Okay.
So am I missing anything?
No, you're not. So like,
Okay.
again, like these things get updated all the time. So this is a fairly new user interface. So if you don't see tools and you just see, I think you just see deep research and Canvas, that's fine. It works the same way. So if you see that like older view, actually I think I have a slide on that.
Actually, I have all of that, it looks like.
Yeah.
On the outside, not in the little tools bar.
Yeah, okay, here,
Okay.
look. I have a slide on this. So this is what you may have right now. That's fine. It works the same way. So if you want to do deep research or use Canvas, where you see the two like windows, and you can just
I'm right next to Canvas, then I have images.
Yes, yeah. So
Okay.
it all works similarly. So
Gotcha.
you can, so all this to say, you can just click deep research if you have that older view. I think eventually all of the views are going to be updated to look like this with the tools button. It's the same thing. It's all the same thing. Okay. So the important thing is you just want to click on deep research if you want to test that out. Hold on. I'm going to pull up AI policy. Okay. So this is a deep research report that I did. Hold on. Let me pull this up. Okay. A deep research report I did like earlier this month. So same thing. I asked a very similar prompt. So I said, I'm a school leader. I want to create an AI policy. Teachers are concerned about cheating. Research existing policies in New York and globally. And so it gave me an executive summary. So where I live, it's like close to Floral Park. So it's using my geographic location. And so that's why it added that. And so create, but you can be more specific and say New York City Public Schools. It gives you the executive summary, information on navigating the AI landscape, all of this. You can go read through this. It did this research. I'm going to see if I can, oh, here we go. A comparative overview of AI policy elements in selected New York districts and orgs. So New York City DOE, Lindenhurst, Rochester, these are their key policy, focus, specific provisions and examples. What they're doing in the UK. So this would have taken me hours to compile all of this research on
But how do you know it's correct? Meaning, now I have to go find the UK policy and all these other places' policies.
I'm glad you brought that up. So what's nice about this is, okay, so for example, Australia, national framework, you see these arrows down here, it tells you where it got it from. So if you want to, you could. So if I click on this, AI in schools, all right, so it took me, so this is the DOE in South Australia. So if you wanted to double check the work, which yes, you should, it's there. All of it is annotated. What's nice about this research report is that it's less likely for it to hallucinate because it's giving you the resources on there. So all of the I know it's hard to see on my screen, but like all of the text here, it's talking about like the IB curriculum with ethical guardrails, like everything that it says, it's giving you like like the references here, the citations, where it got that information. So yeah, you could double check and make sure that it makes sense. Lastly, if I scroll all the way to the bottom, so this is a pretty detailed report here. These are all the different sources that were used in this report. And so the next question is, do you have time to sit down and read all of this, right? And so, yes, you should absolutely take some, like if this is a true research question, you should absolutely take time to sit down and read through it. In addition, under this create button, that's not there. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna export this to Google Docs. I think I did this already. Okay, so I took that entire research report and I exported into Google Docs. So it created this Google Doc, same thing. It has all the information. And it's hard to see, but it has the footnotes on there. Okay, so it does still maintain the resources. 30-page report, and here are the footnotes. Here's the work cited. What you could do with this, I'm gonna show you one of my favorite tools. Okay, I don't know if anybody's used this. This is absolutely one of my favorite AI tools. This is part of Gemini, still ERMA-approved, still you have access as a New York City staff member. NotebookLM. So this Alana, yes, awesome. To get to this, notebooklm.google.com. So how does this work? You create a notebook and you can upload specific resources into this, all right? So this is how it's different. So if Gemini is like taking information from the internet, with NotebookLM, and Grace, I don't know if you've used this, this is really great for just like research reports and everything. You can upload specific resources in here. So if I go to my Google Docs and here, I'm gonna import this AI policy research that Gemini just did, what it's gonna do, now, whatever question I ask, do you know why it's in Latin? Is because when I did this demo the other day, I updated the language to be in Latin. Whoops. This is cool because it lets you know that you can update the language of this report in different languages. Let me go back to English here. So know that whatever research you put into a notebook, it can be in a different language. Do I need to do this over again? Okay, hold on one second. Let me refresh. Yeah, okay. Well, we know that the language works. Let me make another notebook and then same thing, Google Docs, AI policy, insert, should be in English now. Okay, great, wonderful. So again, the difference is with NotebookLM, you can ask any question and it's going to only go through the information in the resources there. So if I ask, you know, what are the 3 main ideas in this report? Okay, so it's going to analyze this document. It could be a PDF, it could be a website. It's only going to pull from that source. Oh yeah, Grace, you're gonna love NotebookLM. If students have access to Gemini, yeah, oh, absolutely. Nicholas, I'll respond to your question in a second. So what are the 3 main ideas? Again, it's only pulling from this, the resources I uploaded. Citations are still in there. It's going to tell you where in the document it's pulling this information from. So here's another use case for it. Shaping AI. So this is similar, shaping AI policy. So I did something. Oh no, this is this is the same one that I did. I have one down here. Okay. Common Sense Media is a really great nonprofit organization that has been doing a lot of, putting out a lot of reports lately on AI usage. So I uploaded their latest research report on AI, and check this out. You can create a podcast on the summary of this. It takes a few minutes to load. It's already here. I'm going to play it. Keep in mind, the audio that you're going to hear, these human beings never existed. This is AI talking, summarizing the report.
Bienvenida o bienvenido. Hoy vamos a
I did it in Spanish. Hold on. Let me hold on. Let me find one that's in English. Okay, hold on. Let me try this one. Oh man. Okay. All right, let's give it a few minutes. But I know I have another one. I was doing this demo and someone's like, "Hey, can you do this in Spanish?" And I was like, "Yeah, you can." Here. This is a very lengthy newsletter that this school puts out every month or every week. It's like 50 pages long. And then I had it create a podcast. All right, okay. These are AI people talking here.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're taking a unique look at something often unseen: the comprehensive educational plan for a single New York City public middle school, JHS 217 Robert A. Van Wyck.
Application of educational policy.
Okay.
You'll see how a school diagnoses its own challenges through comprehensive needs assessments, which means they pore over multiple data sources, analyze trends across grades, subjects,
Right.
and then get to the root causes using methods like the 5 whys.
Okay. That was an AI generated podcast that created an 18-minute summary of this lengthy CEP plan for this school. So one, mind-blowing. Two, you can take that approach and do it to any resource. All right. So again, this is built into your Google Drive. It's all safe to use. It's part of Gemini. You can upload anything to NotebookLM, websites, PDFs, Google Docs, lesson plans. And then as an educator, you could turn this into a podcast, different languages, that summarizes everything. And then you can share this with your students, with your colleagues, whomever. Okay. And I feel like these two things, Gemini deep research and then NotebookLM, work really great hand in hand in terms of, synthesizing information, summarizing information, all of these things. And Nicholas, I wanted to get back to your question. You can share a notebook. So I think this is done at this point. July 29. Okay. So the podcast is done, but if I wanted to, I could share this notebook, and I believe you can share it with students where it's chat only. All right. So then you choose the different resources. You can share this with students or staff by copying the link, and then you can interact with this. I would need to add somebody on there, but that's something to test out also. You could share a notebook with your colleagues as well as your students, and then they can chat only with it, and then you determine what resources are in there. I went over a lot. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
I love that podcast. I was thinking, let's say I'm going to be absent one day, and I could probably use this to give instructions to my students, about a particular topic, even though there's going to be a sub in the classroom. Yeah. There's a way that I can record this or for the podcast, or do I have to type it out and then have it recorded in the pod? I really like this. I think I can use it as a great tool to leave instructions for my students.
Yeah, no, you could download this podcast. So
Okay.
I'm trying to find Navigating AI, New York City Public Schools. So after you generate let me just go to, okay, so this was generated. You can click these 3 buttons and you can download it. Okay, so you can download this podcast, you can upload this to Google Classroom, and yeah, it could be an audio overview of what the lesson is for that day, and so the sub could either like play it for the class, the students, if they have headphones, they can listen to it. Yeah, it's just another way you can synthesize information and then share it with students that may prefer listening to something.
Now, I even like it because depending on my population,
yeah,
I can have it for the students who are L students, if they need to get it in their own language. I don't know if I'm stretching what I'm, yeah.
Yeah, you can translate this. We have a bunch of different languages on here.
Great.
So keep that in mind. So NotebookLM, it's one of my favorite AI tools right now for education, because it's such a powerful tool, because you can be very specific with it, like with what you want to analyze, and and summarize.
Is NotebookLM part of the Google Classroom?
It's not part of Google Classroom, but it's part of your Google like workspace. It's part of
Okay.
your Google.
And in the waffles, like you were saying, like would I find it there?
I don't even think it's in the waffle actually. So you would have to, hold on, let me pull up a slide. You would have to go to notebooklm.google.com here.
Okay.
This one right here. I just put it on right here. So, and then it can be all lowercase. I just made L and M capital just so you know that those are the letters.
And it'll be in the those slides that we're getting, correct, from you?
Yeah. So well, I'll follow up with the recording, and then the slide deck, and then there's like a virtual workbook on here.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. So test it out, and then, man, I love that we went in these different directions of conversations, going over all this stuff. I got to show you one last thing because it was on the agenda. I would feel bad if I didn't show this to you. There's something called Vids. So it's vids.google.com. Hold on one second. Sorry, the computer's going very slow. Okay, so what Vids is, so think about Google Slides. Take that layout, and instead of just creating static images, you can like make movies now. It's like a video editing program, but made by Google, part of your DOE Google account, and you can create videos. So here's an example. So if I click start a new video, and again, this is vids.google.com. You just open up a new tab and go there if you're signed into your DOE account. So if I click on new video, there's like different templates. I can start with a template, and I like using this as an example. So let's say you wanted to make a welcome video for your school. You have all of these different scenes, all of this different like pre-generated text and images. I'll just insert all the scenes, and everything is editable. So if I hit play, music, okay, and again, you can edit it just like editing a Google slide. Instead of welcome to our school, double click welcome to, PS 100. Instead of our foundation, our staff. Okay, so it's just as simple as that. So now when I hit play, and then so you can go through. So here, if I move this like playhead right here to the beginning of this clip, that looks very much like a college campus. Let's say I'm in an elementary school. All right. If I just click on this image, I have an option to replace video at the top. And you have different options. I'm going to go straight to stock and web. So there's a bunch of stock images. If I just search elementary school, there's a bunch of stock footage here. I can choose any one of these. It's all royalty-free images. Maybe this one, maybe that one, what have you. And so now when I play it, okay, so you can record your own voice in here to have narration. You can include like videos that you recorded on your phone. You can stick with the stock images that you see here. But again, this is pretty new. This was introduced to your accounts like 3 months ago. And so that's pretty interesting. I'm trying to get to, okay, here we go. Vids.google.com, or you could even create a new vid from your Google Drive, which is pretty interesting. Hold on one second. So if you were in your Google Drive, you can go to new, and then you can make a new vid right over here. So multiple ways to do it. Google Drive. So that was new, and then you can create a vid, or as I was saying here, you can just open up a new tab and go to vids.google.com. Okay.
Santi, I'm sorry. Do the students' accounts have access to the vids?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. Thank
Yes.
God.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know because I tried it in May when they did it, but I had to use my account. So
Really?
now, yeah, when I did some demos in June because I noticed when they released it, and I had to use my teacher account for a student to do a recording. So that's cool that now students, when they sign into their Google accounts, they'll see this, right? They can do their own vids.
You know what? They should. I'll double check.
Okay.
I was told that students did have, but if you're saying at that point they didn't.
Well, this was in June. This was when school ended in June,
Yeah.
which is just when it was released.
Okay. Okay. I'll double check for you.
All
I'll
right.
double check for
Thank you, Sandy.
Okay. But yeah, like really great tool for people to like make an intro video to your, your school or what have you. Okay. We went over a lot of things. I'm just going to pull up a slide here. Hold on one second. We went over a lot of things. Okay. We went over the Gemini app. We went over Canvas, GEMS, deep research. We touched on NotebookLM. We did a very brief intro to Google Vids. There's a lot. This is a very exciting time. Thank you everybody for being with us so early in the morning during the summer. Please let me know if you have any questions. If you could, please take a minute and answer this feedback. I'm actually gonna put this form in the chat. Just please take like a minute or two. I just put this in the chat. I pinned it. There's a lot. There's so much going on with AI. We're working very closely with Google to create more PDs for everyone, both virtually and in person. This is a brand new world. Okay, so we'll keep in touch. I'm going to follow up with the resources that we went over today, so you'll have it. And trust me, there's going to be way more sessions happening this fall. There's actually some happening this summer. I'll send out the information. I think like next week. I'm doing some webinars. I'll share this all with you. Thank you again. Please take a minute and answer this feedback, and I'll stick around if anybody has any questions. Thank you everybody for your participation and your amazing suggestions and letting us know how you're using AI. Appreciate it. Have a good day. I'll be here if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, and I saw the vids in the waffle.
Oh, good. Oh, awesome. Okay, cool.
Thank
yeah.
you.
Thank you so much, Grace. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Santi.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Glad the vids is in the waffle. I think we need NotebookLM to be in the waffle, but I've not seen that yet. Okay, I see vids in the waffle. Very nice. Oh, wait a minute. NotebookLM is in the waffle too. Okay, cool. Oh man, I gotta share my screen for this. Okay. Yes, if you're still here, please fill out the feedback form. But like in the waffle, yeah, NotebookLM is in there. And look, you can drag and like, oh, I thought you could move it. Never mind. Okay, but NotebookLM is there, as well as Vids, Gemini. Okay, good. The good old waffle. It's there. All right, great. So yeah, please take a minute, answer that feedback form. It should only be a couple questions, and please enjoy the rest of your day. Savor these last weeks of summer. And thank you very much. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Once again, the feedback form, I put it in the chat. I'll put it in one more time. Thank you.
Thank you so very much.
What's that? Thank you.
Yeah, we'll get some more training with this. Yeah, if I request it. Yeah, I definitely love the video. I want to tell you something. I am part of the CTE program in my school. I do school. And I just said to my colleague that I want to create this website, just call it Studio Marketplace, where I can showcase some of the students' work, not using their names, but just putting. And so I was going to use Wix or Wix, whatever the website is. Yeah, but I can use this Google Vid. I can just say, welcome to the department. I can upload the information. I think it's more interactive. It's easier to use. And yeah, so this was great. I'm really glad I was part of this.
And I'm glad you're here. And you know, that's such an insightful way to look at vids. You can use it like that, and you could also use it in combination with things. So like you could use Wix and put the Google Vids video in there, or create a Google site, and the first page is the Google vid, and then maybe another page is like some other resources or documents in there. So you could really include, you know, mix and match and have it include.
Yeah. The other thing, so we are a media, commercial art, CTE, and New York State endorsed program. We teach web design, and I do JavaScript coding with the students, as well as a work-based learning coordinator. And I'm seeing how this is so easy to create websites. So how, that's a question for me and for the staff. How do we use this in addition to what we're teaching the students? You know, 'cause if they can go there and do HTML,
Yes, and like you could even create a gem on like teaching you JavaScript. Like I think one of the suggested gems on here, it's a coding partner, but you could like be more specific and create something on, you know, it's this I mentioned this before, you know, like for the longest time, you know, we're teaching our students like you really should understand computer science. And like I don't disagree with that. And I think that conversation has changed now. So computer science, like it's different. Like what does that definition mean? Because like now we have these tools that can code for you. And it's still important to understand how to code, but like, man, the barrier of entry is much lower now.
Yeah. Please, if you send the slide deck, I would appreciate it. Thank you so much. And keep me informed if you have any other trainings. I'd love to be part of it. Okay.
It sounds
good. It was great. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you, everybody. I'm gonna stop the recording.